Aurora's POV. I stirred and immediately drew the sheets around my body. Xavier? I glanced at him, shocked. How did I end up in bed with him? My mind was fuzzy. I couldn't remember almost everything except the part where I had been drinking and exchanged some words. My eyes scanned the room and rested on my dress, undies sprawled on the floor. Oh shit! Goosebumps appeared on my skin as the details of last night flooded my head without warning. I slowly stepped out of bed, but the sore feeling between my legs made me pause for a few minutes. It must have been a long ride last night. After gathering my clothes, I threw a glance back at Xavier. He looked so handsome and peaceful while sleeping. A part of me wanted to return, but I felt stupid. I wanted to get rid of the bab, but I ended up sleeping with him. How heroic of me. I sighed as I pulled the door, but a sound made me freeze. Aurora? Where are you off to? I let out a deep breath and replied, I'm leaving. You're leaving your room without your clothes on? Are you running away from me? I turned and stared at him. His hair was scattered all over his face, but he still looked perfect. I am not. I just needed a breather. Oh, do you regret what happened between us? I shrugged, hating the way he was watching me. I felt like a kid caught in the act of stealing. I needed some space for myself. Are you questioning your feelings for me? I am not, I rattled, returning to the bed. It's been a long night, and I just wanted to make sense of what happened between us. Okay. So you still have feelings for me? He raised his brow, studying me. As I was about to reply, I felt a belch and rushed into the bathroom. One thing I hated about being pregnant, the morning sickness. I threw up until my stomach felt empty. Xavier appeared beside me and helped me to my feet. I said nothing as he helped switch on the tap. He seemed to be more interested in how I slowly rinsed my mouth than my reluctance to speak. He wraps my hair in a bun as I bend to wash my face. I observe how gentle he is throughout the process. It feels eerie, yet exciting. I cough a little and stare at him. I'm sorry about getting drunk last night. It was a stupid mistake. His lips curved into a tiny smile. Your stupid mistake almost harmed my baby. I shifted a bit as the weight of his words hit me. I wasn't thinking, but I promise you, this won't happen again. You admitted that you didn't care about what happened to my child. How do you expect me to trust you after that? He moved closer, his eyes glowing. I am sorry, Xavier. It wouldn't happen again. I promise. I repeated, breathing hard. His cold aura was beginning to affect me. I closed my eyes for a second and jerked as he lifted my chin. This is going to be your last warning, Aurora. I'm taking away all the alcohol in the house, including the ones in your room, and throwing them away. But it was a mistake. I protested as he held my chin. No, you did it intentionally. You wanted to kill my child, and for that, I won't let you go easily. He flashed a crooked smile. I pushed his hand off me. What are you going to do to me? I will be watching you. If you slip again, I am going to lock you in this room until you deliver the child, and I will throw you out to the streets where you deserve to be, he said in a rough tone which made me tremble. I moved back, hitting the sink, and he followed me. His breaths were ragged, but his eyes, they were clear and menacing. I bit my lower lip, not knowing what to say, but I knew I had to say something. I already apologized, Xavier. You can't treat me like a child. You chose that path when you decided to act carelessly with my child. One more slip and you will be in this room, all alone until you deliver. He sneered, turning around. My apologies doesn't count. He flashed a backward glance but said nothing as he shut the door behind him. I let out a heavy sigh and fell on my knees. How could I have been so carried away with my plan that I forgot who I was dealing with? I let the tears flow as I allowed myself to go into everything that led me to sleep with him. I should have tried to control myself, but being drunk just has its perks. I throw off the bedsheet and step into the shower. As the water hits my skin, the images of last night keep playing in my head. A sense of peace flows in when I remember how Xavier was calm with me, and I suddenly feel justified. Weird. I should not be fantasizing and feeling at peace after everything that has happened. You should have stopped me from having anything with Xavier? I muttered to my wolf as I felt her stir. She replied, It wasn't my fault you had an intimate moment with him. I couldn't stop you. You should have. You're my wolf and supposed to be a guide. He's not your mate, Aurora. You could have controlled yourself if you wanted to, but you didn't. What do you mean? I asked furiously. She wasn't making any sense. If I wanted Xavier, I would not have acted so drunk to get him. If he were your mate, he would be drawn to you the same as you, and you won't be able to control it. But he isn't. Hence the reason you're feeling guilty. You could have stopped. You went ahead. Oh, I understand. My voice fell as I switched off the tap. My wolf was right. I could have controlled myself, but I allowed my desires to rule my mind. I strolled out of the bathroom, determined to behave until I delivered Xavier's child. The knock on the door interrupted me as I selected some outfits. Yes, how may I help you? The maid smiled timidly. Alpha Xavier demands your presence in his room. My heart skipped a beat. Had I done something wrong again? I smiled nonetheless. I will be there in a minute. Thank you. As soon as I closed the door, I rested on it and thought of 1,000 ways to escape Xavier's wrath, but nothing made sense except for the child. I sighed as I remembered my promise, and I took a long breath, hoping his request for me wasn't based on last night's activities, Aurora's POV. I picked a long black gown, not exquisite but nice and comfortable. My bump hadn't started showing, but I could feel the growth in me. My face glowed too, and I had an increased appetite for meals I would turn away from. The dining room was silent except for some maids arranging the meals served. My stomach groaned in response, and without hesitating, I settled as the maid served me a plate. Halfway through the meal, Xavier showed up from one of the doors. I tried to keep myself composed because everything about last night and earlier was still fresh, and I knew if I locked eyes with him, I was going to lose myself. He moved closer and settled near me. I took a sharp breath, dropping my fork, which drew a laugh from him. I shot him a dark look, picking my fork furiously. What do you want? He picked a bunch of berries from the tray of fruits, munched on some, and dropped the remainder on an empty plate. He moved to the food, scooped some, and dropped it on my plate. I protested. What's that for? I'm already filled up. He glanced at my plate and shook his head. You haven't eaten up to 5 spoons, Aurora, so eat up. I pushed the plate forward and crossed my arms stubbornly. I'm done with the food. You can eat it if you want. He scoffed, glancing at the plate. All right, we have to leave right now. Where? He replied with a grunt. I'm taking you to the cafe, or don't you want to see it? I yelled with an excited scream. Xavier, you didn't tell me you have gotten the cafe. You didn't need to know yet. Now eat up and meet me outside in 5 minutes. He shifted the chair a little and rose. It's going to be a long ride, so prepare yourself. The silence in the car was deafening, but I didn't care. Xavier was more focused on the music playing in the background than starting a conversation with me. So I started outside the window, counting the trees we passed until I reached 100. We're almost there. Hope you're ready? Xavier asked as we turned at a junction. I muttered underneath my breath, determined not to have a conversation with him until I was out of this space with him. It suddenly felt hot, and I could feel sweat brewing on my face. I was already getting nervous. I closed my eyes and did a few breath takes, but it was a stupid idea because the scent from Xavier helped trigger the image of last night, how I was on my 4s and he was behind me. I jerked as he touched me. Aurora, are you okay? You seemed frightened, Xavier noted as he parked the car. I huffed, not saying a thing. Frightened? Why wouldn't I be? Every moment with him always made second guess everything that could happen in the next minute. As I stepped out, I noticed a familiar figure at the far side of the car park. Julia, what are you doing here? I waved excitedly as she rushed towards us. I came to get some groceries. Xavier. Good to see you. Julia flashed a polite smile at him as he grunted a response. I had always wondered about Julia and Xavier's friendship. It was a mysterious one. They could be so polite with each other about everything that you would feel like they were practicing a formal setting. They also talked about the most irrelevant things and sometimes kept mute when in closed spaces. It was weird, but I didn't feel threatened by their friendship. Xavier brought me here to see the cafe he bought. Where's it? I asked, glancing at Xavier. He laughed small. That's the building behind you. You and Julia can check it out. I need to call someone and I will follow behind. Okay, thank you, I replied excitedly as Julia led the way. I think that's the building. It has a cafe sign. Julia's jaw dropped as we stopped at the building. It was large, beautiful, and the doors were double glass with golden handles. Xavier picked the perfect spot for the cafe. This is exquisite, dear. I love it. We should check the inside. I nodded as I threw a backward glance at Xavier. He was behind us, looking out of place. This is the perfect spot for the cafe, Aurora. It's in the middle of the pack, and there is always a lot of human traffic during the week around the place, so you will always be busy. Xavier did think deeply about this girl. Julia commented excitedly as they walked into the cafe. Xavier was still behind, but he was on call. I hesitated a bit, but followed Julia in. The choice of interiors was the first thing that caught my attention. It complemented the large space and it also seemed cold, just like Xavier. I held a giggle as Julia dragged herself towards the center of the room. She was more excited about the space than me, which was cute. I think we can buy dark brown couches and some booths to fill the center of the space. It will be a round table atmosphere. Julia agreed, smiling widely. We can hang white curtains with flowers around them, then add a music booth to ease the atmosphere. The tables would be on the other side of the room, for lovers who want some peace. What do you think? It's a good idea. The space is large enough to take everything. There's an upstairs, too. I realized when I noticed a staircase on the other side of the room. Xavier must have spent a lot of money and time to find a perfect spot for me. I was impressed and so excited. I wanted to wrap my arms around him right then and show my appreciation, but he was still out there yelling at whoever was at the other end of the phone. Julia rushed upstairs and I followed. Her enthusiasm and energy were double mine. I had to stop after a few steps to get myself together. This could be a room for VIP, Aurora. We could offer a different type of service here. We would do the round table style here too, but use Italian soft couches here. Yes, we can also change the atmosphere with the lighting too. Great, I can wait for us to get started. Where's Xavier? I thought he was coming behind us. Julia asked as we settled on the floor. I wrapped my hair in a bun and smiled. He's outside receiving a call. Business as usual. You're lucky, though. Xavier's work calendar is always filled up from the beginning to the end of the year. He barely has time to go out and meet up with friends. It must have taken him a lot to scout this place for you and even bring you over here. Oh, I didn't know. Xavier and I barely talk about his schedule. I noted, feeling a bit bad. His line of work was hectic, and that was what brought in the money, so he worked 3 times as hard as others worked once. Julia took my hands and smiled. Don't feel bad. His schedule has always been like that, but from what I see, he will do anything to please you, Aurora. He's a good alpha. I scoffed. She nodded, glancing behind me. Xavier, you're here. I rose quickly, surprised. I hadn't heard him come up, but from the way Julia smiled, she had heard him. I'm leaving, Xavier said in one breath. My heart increased its beats. Oh, all right. He turned around before I could complete my words. I glanced at Julia, and she shrugged. I dashed after him, and luckily he was about to open the car. Alpha Xavier, hold on, I yelled as I approached him. His expression was blank as I covered the distance between us. Thank you for the cafe. I loved it. He said nothing as I glanced at him, and without hesitating, I wrapped my hands around him. His scent was warm, and his body heat made me squeeze more, but he didn't hug back. Thank you for everything you do. I promise not to do anything to make you regret it. I said, hoping he would say something, but he merely glanced at me, his lips held stubbornly. I released him, feeling foolish. I'm sorry. I was emotional and couldn't help myself. I will see you home? He opened the car and drove off without saying a word. I felt my eyes sting, but I held it and smiled instead. Today was a happy day, and his sudden change of mood wouldn't deprive me from being happy. I had to be Xavier's POV. I nodded as the secretary greeted and uttered something about a meeting I had missed. I shut her voice as I stepped into my office and closed the door behind me. My wolf stirred as I poured a glass of water and settled down. I knew my wolf was trying to talk, but I didn't want to listen. Not after everything with Aurora. I swallowed hard as I stared at my phone. There were 3 missed calls from one of my clients. I sneered, sending a quick text. I wasn't in the mood to talk with anyone either. Do you still think what happened last night will happen again? I shrugged, ignoring my wolf's voice. Aurora had shown a different part of her last night, and I had to do everything not to tear her dress as we drove to the cafe. Luckily, she had stayed quiet, and I observed she did not touch me until the hug. "You want more, Xavier. You can't deny it." "No, I don't. We have no feelings for each other." My wolf replied. "I can feel it. You like her. Maybe there will be a repeat of last night, if you're open to it." I could sense my wolf's enablement. "No, it won't happen again. That's certain. She's just a surrogate mother carrying my child. Once she delivers, we will go our separate ways." "You're not confident about that, are you?" I scoffed. "It's none of your business. I'm your wolf, and I can sense whatever goes on with you. It's my business, Xavier." I snickered, shutting my wolf out. Aurora and I were the end, not the beginning. That was the reason why I was certain that we weren't going to have another intimate night. The secretary stepped in, interrupting my reverie. "I'm sorry for interrupting, sir, but there's a lady here to see you. She said it's of utmost importance." "A lady? I'm not expecting anyone. Did she say what she wanted?" "No, she didn't when I asked. Should I let her in?" I shrugged, rising. "Let her in. I hope she's worth my time." The secretary nodded, closed the door with a click, and as I sat down, a young lady stepped in, smiling widely. My eyes roamed her body, and I felt irritated immediately. Her cleavage stood out, and her gown was tight, revealing her curves. Her perfume was suffocating. She drew a chair and settled while biting her lower lip. I could tell she wasn't here for strictly business. Nonetheless, I glared at her after a few minutes of silence. "What do you want? Make it snappy. I have a meeting in a few minutes." She grinned, sitting upright. "I'm Christabel. I used to be Aurora's best friend until she betrayed me." I cocked my head. Aurora hadn't mentioned her before, and she didn't seem familiar. "Betrayal, too?" "How did she betray you?" "That's a long story, and not why I am here, Alpha." I sighed in a bored tone. "So why are you here?" She leaned, smiling widely. I could tell she was doing everything to ensure my eyes stayed on her cleavage. If only she knew how hard it was to seduce me, she would have rethought her outfit choice before coming here. "She's not carrying your child. That's what I came to tell you. She might seem like a nice girl with good manners, but I have known her for years, and Jay can tell you for free that the unborn child isn't yours." "What do you mean?" I asked, rising. She rose too, moving to my side of my table. "I am saying that you aren't the father. She's a flirty cheat, and not as innocent as you think." I sneered, closing the distance between us. "What did you say?" she said slowly. "She's a cheat and doesn't deserve you." Before she could retreat, I grabbed her neck and pushed her to the wall. "What did you say about Aurora? Repeat it." She coughed, struggling to breathe. "I'm sorry if I said anything that was amiss. I was just saying the truth." "You don't know her as well as I do, so shut it," I said, releasing her neck. "Don't ever speak about Aurora in that manner ever again." She rubbed her neck, visibly shaken. "I'm sorry, I was just looking out for you." "I don't need your help, Christabel. Don't ever come in accusing Aurora of things you know nothing of." A tear fell from her eyes. "I'm Sue. Try." "Shut up," I yelled, moving towards her. She trembled, her bosom rising faster. She looked ugly now. "If I hear a word about this outside, you and I are going to have a repeat of what happened here." I sneered, jabbing a finger at her. "I promise I won't be kind." She nodded. "I promise I won't. Leave now and don't ever come back looking for me or Aurora. I'm glad you're out of her life. You can never measure up to her innocence and her goodness." She sucked her lips. I was just, "Take your leave right now and buy some clothes to cover up. You look worse than a cheap whore." Her face turned red, but she said nothing and turned and closed the door with a bang. As soon as she was out, I sighed, taking short breaths. I had never stood up for anyone until Aurora, and it took everything from me. "The child is yours and not anyone else. You felt the connection when you slept with her, even when you touched her bump. Aurora would never cheat on you, Xavier." I nodded, agreeing with my wolf. "Of course, she would never." I smiled and fell into my chair. Christabel would have a rethink whenever she thought of crossing my path. Aurora's POV. I groaned as I changed positions on the bed. I should be soundly asleep, but it was barely midnight, and I was still struggling to shut my eyes. My stomach rumbled as I turned again and added another pillow to support my head. After 2 more attempts and the rumbling in my stomach won't stop, I jumped out of the bed. hurting my side a bit. I should have eaten enough before calling it a night, I muttered as I strolled out of the room. Before I could stop myself, I found myself in front of Xavier's door. I leaned and listened for a while, but I heard nothing. He was probably busy with work activities. The alpha barely slept. I knocked once, waited for a second, but didn't hear anything. I tried a few times and tried the door, but it was locked. Great. I knocked again, and after listening for a few minutes and not hearing anything, I almost gave up. But the rumbling in my stomach grew louder, and I almost let out a cry. It felt like the baby was hungrier than me and was protesting violently. As I was about to knock again, I heard a shuffle and the door opened. Xavier appeared, flashing an angry scowl at me. I smiled, rubbing my stomach. The baby and I are hungry. I'm sorry if I woke you up, but I couldn't manage myself anymore. He sneered. His bloodshot eyes showed he had been asleep, quite different from what I thought. You could have told the maid or the chef to prepare something for you, I groaned, rolling my eyes. I want you to prepare something for me, not the maids. I can't, Aurora. I'm exhausted. I had a long day. It's your baby that wants the food, not me. Do you want me to return to bed with an empty stomach? He stuttered, looking astonished. Did you eat dinner? I feigned a tired sigh. I couldn't. The dinner tasted like paper, and the maids added more pepper to the sauce. It's not healthy for the baby. You said so a few days ago, remember? He ran his fingers through his ruffled hair. His eyes were bold now, but it was obvious he didn't want to be here listening to me. Well, too bad for him. I wasn't leaving until he took care of my hunger. Our baby needs food, Xavier. You're the one always insisting I should eat whenever I feel a pang of hunger because of the baby. Right. I didn't forget my words. You can tell the chef. He will cook whatever you want for the baby. He's paid to take care of your needs. I shook my head vigorously. I already told you I want you to prepare the meal for me. He sighed, glancing fully at me. I could feel his eyes roam my pink nightgown, but he quickly averted it, as if something warned him off. What do you want to eat? Mac and cheese. I smiled widely. He raised his eyebrow. I don't know how to prepare that. I could call the chef. I stomped my feet on the floor, shaking my head. No, I don't want him but you. He moved towards me quickly as I continued stomping my feet violently. Easy, Aurora. You might hurt the baby. I turned away from him, still shaking my head vigorously. I already told you what I want. Are you going to prepare it, or should I continue? Maybe I could take a cocktail that contains alcohol. He glared at me, his hands falling beside him. I already warned you about alcohol usage, I replied furiously. Then mac and cheese? Is that what you want? I'm tired. I can't even cook, he replied in a high tone. You're yelling at me, Xavier. I thought we were having a calm conversation. I didn't mean to tell. He lowered his voice, closing the distance between us. I had to stop myself from falling into his arms as he wrapped me. He smelled of body wash and himself. I sniffed as he released me. Are you going to prepare it for me? His fingers went through his hair. I don't know how to cook, but I just run the affairs of the pack. That's what the baby wants. You can learn and do it. Tonight his jaw dropped as he glanced at me. I don't think it's possible to learn how to prepare mac and cheese in a day. I smiled, glancing at his pajama trousers. You're already dressed for the occasion. Let's go. I'm serious. I don't know to cook. You will learn to do it. All right, go to your room. I will be back in a few minutes. I have to take care of something. I shook my head as he pulled out his phone. I suspected he was going to order it or text his chef to prepare the meal. I would prefer to watch you prepare the mac and cheese. It's all for your baby, and you said that I shouldn't eat takeouts. Remember? He scoffed as he closed the door and replied, I love how you're using my words against me tonight. I remember to watch what I say with you next time. I laughed, following behind him. It's not my fault you laid a lot of rules since I was confirmed pregnant for you. He sneered but said nothing as he led the way to the kitchen. He pulled out his phone and logged into a good channel. I watched with a wide smile as he grudgingly brought out the items, as the voice in the background read them out. I dragged a bar stool close to the kitchen table and nodded as he pointed at the items. They are the right ones. Now start chopping. I'm your alpha. You don't have the right to order me. I scoffed, staring at the phone as he started cutting the items and watching the video. He seemed confused for some minutes, but I offered no help. He didn't ask for it, and besides, he already hated me for disrupting his sleep. I didn't want to aggravate it. A few minutes later, he was struggling with picking the right quantity of items. I let out a giggle when he grunted as he started rewatching the video. He shot a glare at me, but I smiled. "You're doing quite well for a man who doesn't know his way in the kitchen. I should have let the chef do this instead of listening to your tantrums." I feigned a scream immediately. The baby just kicked. He turned shockingly at me. "Are you certain? Can I feel it?" I shook my head, a cunning smile on my face. "I threw tantrums, right? So you don't have the right to feel our baby." "Right, Aurora. Your mac and cheese will be ready in an hour. Get ready," he replied in an excited tone. I sighed and pulled out my phone while he arranged plates and mixed some ingredients during the preparation. I noted it mentally to add cooking classes to the list of things Xavier needed to learn before I delivered our child. As I stared at him, my eyes slowly closed, and soon I couldn't hear Xavier nor the sound of kitchen utensils clanging against each other. All I could hear was silence. Xavier's POV. I couldn't believe she woke me up to prepare a plate of mac and cheese, and she was already asleep. I scrunched my nose as I glared at the food, and I almost felt like waking her up and ensuring she ate every bit. But the way she slept so peacefully made me change my mind. I wasn't that brutal. Besides, it was the baby who made her have strange cravings, especially at midnight. I packaged the mac and cheese in a plastic pack and placed it in the fridge. She can always microwave it when she wakes up later. I lifted her and walked slowly to her room. She was a lightweight, even though she was pregnant. I tried as much as possible not to stare at her face, and when I finally placed her on her bed, I let out a deep breath, which I didn't know I was holding. She stirred a bit on the bed but continued sleeping. I leaned and kissed her baby bump, hesitated while she stretched on the bed and kissed her forehead. She muttered, but her eyes were still shut. Good. I couldn't deal with another tantrum if she woke up. I could imagine what her new request would be. A plate of toasted bread, lamb chops and cheese, or oranges and donuts. I scoffed. Her craving tonight had been a crazy one. The chef could have done the cooking, but she ensured her manipulative skills worked on me, and just because I wanted to avoid an argument, I had calmly accepted. I fell on my bed as soon as I stepped into my room, and soon I was asleep. "Mum, please, Mum, why aren't you answering?" I cried as I screamed. "Mum, please, I'm begging you, Mum, Mum, Mum." I cried louder as I clenched my hands. "Mum, where are you?" I yelled as I turned. Everywhere was dark, but I couldn't feel her presence. Most times I could feel her presence, especially when it was dark. I paused as I turned, but she wasn't there. "Mum, Mum, where are you?" I opened my eyes suddenly and blinked twice as I took in my environment. I was on my bed, not in the dark room. I let go of the blanket as I realized how tightly I was holding the blanket, and I was sweating seriously. I massaged them while using the blanket to dampen some sweat around my chest, but suddenly stopped as I realized there was someone beside me. I turned, and Aurora's glowing eyes met mine. I glanced at her, confused. "Didn't I tuck her in bed a few hours ago? You're supposed to be sleeping. Why are you here?" I grunted, pulling the blanket over my chest. I felt naked as her eyes roamed my body. "I couldn't sleep. Your yells woke me up," she said in a concerned tone. I sat up, my eyes averted. "I'm sorry. I am not always like this. Tonight was just different." She took my hands and squeezed them a bit. "It's fine. You don't have to apologize." I sighed, feeling a bit embarrassed. "I'm sorry still." She waved it off with a shake of her head. "Xavier, we're good. Trust me, okay? Okay, are you hungry? Would you cook for me?" I raised a brow. Not again. We could sleep instead. It's late for a meal anyway. "I want a pancake, just few slices, and I'm good. The mac and cheese you asked for is in the fridge. You should get it if you're hungry." She scoffed, shaking her head. "Can't I get some pancakes?" "No, Aurora. You haven't even ate the one I prepared for you an hour ago." "Fine," she huffed, leaning on the pillow. "Can I sleep near you? The baby wants to feel your presence tonight." "No, go to your room," I ordered in a short breath. "I won't be able to sleep, and it's the bae that pulled me to you. I didn't come willingly." She replied with a hint of anger. "All right, have it your way." You can sleep here." She replied in excitement, "Thank you, Xavier. Sweet dreams." I watched her as she pulled the blanket over her and turned to the other side of the room. I sighed and glanced at the ceiling. Her warm aura filled the room, and as she moved closer to me, I felt drawn to her. I turned and glanced at her back. The way she carved, revealing her curves, pushed me a bit. I wanted to draw her near, sniff her hair, kiss her deeply, and hold her in my arms. I started to place my hand on her shoulder, but I stopped. I couldn't let a repeat of what happened between us a few nights ago repeat itself. She squirmed as she turned, facing me. Her eyes were still shut, but she breathed hard. She turned again, facing up, and placed a hand on her stomach. When she turned again, she had already covered the space between us. Her scent was suffocating. I could barely breathe. Without thinking twice, Jay threw my hand over her and drew her into a cuddle. She turned a bit, her eyes confused, surprised, and interested. "I thought you would be asleep now. What happened?" I kissed her shoulder as she adjusted a bit. "I couldn't sleep because you and the baby wouldn't let me. I can feel the connection, and it's strong." She chuckled. "It's your child, Xavier. What did you expect?" I drew her closer and rubbed my hand on her baby bump. She responded by placing her palm on mine. "I can't wait to see our baby," she replied with a nod. "I can't, too. The baby is going to be a stubborn one just like you." "I'm not stubborn, Aurora." A soft snore escaped her lips as I rose a little to glance at her. She was already asleep, her hands on mine as I placed my palm on her bump. I slowly closed my eyes and soon I was lost in a deep slumber. Aurora's POV. I closed my eyes, resting my head on the pillows. Xavier had been perfect for the last few months, and even after the delivery of the babies, an adorable girl and boy. I smiled widely as the events before the delivery flooded my head. I had been filled with tantrums and numerous demands, but instead of expecting strict orders from Xavier, he had been nice, patient, and a good listener to me. He even stayed several nights with me when I had false labor. After the babies were delivered, as the nurse placed them in my hands, I couldn't help but hold them tightly and smile. They were my bundle of joy and the best thing that had happened to me so far. If only the guilt building in me would dissipate, though. The children were, sadly, not his. I clutched my hands as I tried to push down the thoughts of what would happen if he discovered the truth. You can't hide the truth from him, Aurora. One way or the other, he's going to discover what you're hiding. My wolf said. I sighed. Did you see how he lifted them immediately? The nurse introduced them to him. He's a perfect father for them, I know so. Still, he's not the father. You can't give him another person's children. It's not done. I sighed, feeling bad. The goddess knows how indecisive I am about this. I didn't plan any of this to happen. It just did. I know. We just have to hope he doesn't discover the truth until you have a solid plan. I shuddered, thinking about what Xavier would do if he discovered the truth. He would probably kill me or sell me off to some brutal alpha. He might skin you too, Aurora. My wolf giggled. I scoffed, not enjoying the dark humor. He would kill me, and maybe the children too. Gosh, I can't believe I hate looking at them when I think about my crime. You shouldn't hate them. This isn't their fault. Boo, mine. I should have thought about the consequences. It feels too late for any form of remorse. I admitted, feeling downcast. It's never too late, Aurora. We will figure out a way. We always do. My wolf's voice disappeared as I opened my eyes and listened to the soft breathing of the twins. They were asleep already after an hour of crying and a lot of cuddling them. I stretched my hands a bit and sighed. My wolf was right. I shouldn't hate them, but I couldn't help it. They were a reminder of the sin I had committed against Xavier, and something in me wanted them out of my life. But the joy they had instilled in me was heartwarming. They had made me feel like the happiest mother in the world, and the pack. Xavier felt the same way too. The way he had smiled when he carried the baby girl, kissed her lightly, and commented on how she looked exactly me. The baby boy had received the same treatment and he had ensured they had everything they needed to be comfortable in their cribs. He was already talking about working on the nursery he had built for them in the room after mine, once I returned home. He was the perfect dad for them, but not the biological father for them, and I felt hurt knowing I was the reason. The door creaked as I looked up. Xavier stood by it, an unreadable expression on his face. He wore a black t-shirt and black jeans, which were tucked into heavy boots. He looked a bit exhausted, but it strangely complemented his handsomeness. I held a smile as my eyes roamed his well-broaded shoulder, chest, and stopped by his hips. He was, as the females of the pack said, the most handsome alpha in all the lands. "How are you feeling?" he asked, moving to the crib. I replied with a short smile. "I am good. I was just resting." He picked the baby girl as she cried. "She's awake. They're so beautiful, Aurora." My face fell as he kissed her gently and held her like she was fragile. It was a beautiful sight, but I felt bad. And that she wasn't his. "Yes, they are beautiful," he smiled. "Thank you for being a beautiful mother. I promise to give them everything they want and need." I tried to smile, but it hurt so much. I held my breath as my chest constricted. "Oh no!" I let out my breath as a tear fell. The guilt was too much to bear, and I couldn't control it. "Are you okay?" His voice interrupted my reverie. I quickly cleaned my eyes, smiling widely. "Yes, I'm okay. I'm overwhelmed. That's all." "All right. Our baby boy just woke up, too." He carried him, too, and laughed. "I can't believe I am a father already. Oh, goodness, they are so cute and small, right?" I laughed despite myself. "Yes, they are. I think they're hungry, though. I have to breastfeed them." He looked confused. "The doctor insisted you should rest fully before doing anything." "Yes, you are right, but I'm allowed to breastfeed them. Bring the baby girl first, please," I added as he hesitated, but brought her. He watched me breastfeed the twins, and once I was done, I noticed a change in his countenance. "Are you all right, Xavier? You look worried." "I'm not worried, but amazed. You handled them perfectly well." I shrugged, not knowing what to say. "It's my job. I have to do it well." "Yeah, being a father is going to be a lot from what I can tell. I have to learn a lot of things, right?" He dropped the babies in their cribs. I nodded as tears flooded my eyes. I had to control myself, or else he was going to be suspicious of why I was behaving weirdly. I wondered how he was going to feel if he discovered that all along I had lied to him and made him believe he was the father. My heartbeats increased as he turned to me. "I have to speak to the doctor. He mentioned some tests that we needed to carry out for you to ensure you are good to leave the hospital." I nodded, averting my glance. "All right, you can go. I will take care of the babies." He pulled the door, hesitating. "I could call a maid to stay with you, Aurora. You don't have to do it alone." I smiled painfully as a tear rolled. "I'm okay. Just go and do what you have to, please." "Right. I will be back." I let out a sigh of relief as he closed the door behind him. That was a lot even for me. Is this how guilt ruled one's mind? It took everything from me, including my sense of control. How long was I going to continue this facade and hope he didn't discover the truth before I had crafted a plan? I shuddered as I pulled the bedsheet over me. Thinking about the many things he would do to me when he discovered the truth was enough to kill every ounce of confidence I had in myself. Alpha Lucas's POV. The files I had to review were numerous, and staring at them made me feel unsure of my capabilities. Being an alpha was one job, taking care of the pack and the responsibilities that came with it was another heavy job, one I disliked. The intercom buzzed as I brought out a file. I groaned as I picked. "Yes, what's the issue now?" The guard on the other line replied with a hint of apology. "I'm sorry, Alpha, for the interruption." I cut him short, irritated already. "What's it, John?" "There's Beta here to see you. The one you had a meeting with a few days ago?" "Darren," I smiled suddenly as I returned the file. "Lead him here and be discreet. I don't want anyone knowing he was here. We would use the back door elevator, Alpha." "Smart. I will be expecting you guys." I quickly cleared my desk and waited while thinking of Beta Darren. He was the kind of enemy you would want by your side because he would betray his family just to be on the lead of the game. Besides, the man was a genius when it came to plots and overthrowing alphas. I have heard stories of how he also hated Aurora, hence it was the reason why I had decided to bring him on the plan. He was also the least likely person who would be suspected once everything happened and Xavier was out of the picture. I smiled mischievously. Aurora wouldn't see this coming, neither would her dear poor Alpha. The Beta strolled in like he owned the place. He wore a leather jacket, a senile smile, and his hair carefully cropped to the left. Most wolves trembled in his presence, but I I didn't give a hoot about his intimidating outlook. He was one of my tools, and if our plans worked out, I could always figure ways to get rid of him. Hence the reason I had to tread carefully and be certain he was here to help the plan grow and not act as a double-faced coward. "Darren, I wasn't expecting you. How do you do?" I asked, shaking his hands. He held it firm with a wide smile. "Well, there's a reason I'm here. I bring good news, and you're going to like it." "Oh, great. Take the weight off your feet and sit," I replied, settling down. "Aurora delivered twins a few days ago. She is still in the hospital, though, and I heard Xavier wouldn't leave her side." I applauded, feeling excited. "That's great news, Darren. When does she come home?" "In 3 days. Are you excited?" he asked, his eyes glowing with pride. "Of course I am. This is the best news I have received in ages," I replied, smiling a bit. "Great, I'm excited too. Now we can proceed with the next line of action." Of course, I wish the bastard doctor I had worked with had stayed. This would have fully made sense. But he got up one morning and disappeared into thin air. I spat, remembering how the men in the pack searched for the doctor, but they couldn't find a single trace. Just a slut who knew only his first name and the kind of meals he loved. Maybe he left because he didn't want to be caught in any part of the event. Darren offered. I scoffed, rising. "He's a coward. The Lord of Cowards, Darren." I spat as I opened the cabinet where I kept different brands of alcohol. "I agree. Men should stand and fight and not run off like a little cub." I agreed, picking a bottle of brandy. "Exactly, Beta. He should have stood with me and stayed till the end of the plan. I hope I never come across him again for his sake." Darren nodded as I poured a glass for him and myself. "This scent's good. What brand?" "I can't recall the name, but this is for Aurora and our plan, Darren. Cheers to us." I laughed as we clicked glasses, and he smiled widely. "So, what's the next item?" I drank a mouthful and placed the glass on the table. "I have to claim paternity for the babies. I would need your help with that. There's a party for her and the babies. It's in a few days. I feel that will be the best time to claim the babies as yours. Xavier will be there with other pack members, including the elders." He laughed, glancing at me. "Imagine the shock on his face and the embarrassment when you show the proof that Aurora cheated on him. It will be epic, Lucas." I laughed. It was a good plan. "I'm glad I got you in on the plan. You're such a genius. So, how do I get into the party?" "Xavier wouldn't send in an invite. You know that." Darren flashed a conniving smile. "I will figure it out. I'm the beta after all. There's always a loophole that can be created to let you in." "That's perfect. So, once I claim the babies in everyone's presence with a solid plan, we can move to the next item, which will be claiming the throne." "Yes, Lucas, but we need every pack's trust. They mightn't fully believe Aurora cheated on Xavier." I smiled, shaking my head. "They will. My evidence is something that would blow their minds. Let's be honest, though. Your daughter isn't as innocent as they think. I'm sure you can do something about that, right?" He looked confused for a second. "I don't understand." "Right. I mean, create evidence where it's needed to prove she can cheat on him. You can do that, can't you?" His lips curved into a mischievous smile. "Yes, I can. I will speak to some people about this. Just complete your plans, too. We only have one shot at this, and we have to make it count." I poured a glass full and winked. "Of course, Darren. I didn't stay up for many nights plotting for the downfall of that fool Xavier just to mess it up in one day." "I believe you. Xavier has been getting on my nerves lately, and Aurora? She thinks she's better than me. Can you believe that?" He hissed with bitterness. I laughed as I watched him. Of course, I was right about him. His oblivious hate for Xavier and greed to take over the pack-weirs enough to assure me of his loyalty. "Keep me informed about the party in every detail, Darren," I replied, observing him as he poured another glass. "Be discreet, too. No one must know about us or the plan." "Of course, Lucas. I have kept my part of the plan. It's your turn, so don't disappoint." "Definitely, Beta. To a new Alpha King of all packs." I raised my glass as he clicked it with his. He smiled. "To you, Alpha King Lucas." We broke into laughter as he filled me in on other details of what had been happening in the pack since Aurora delivered the twins. I could tell from what he said that the plan was going to be smooth if I covered all areas. Xavier would be lucky if I let him go alive, though. I allowed myself to imagine ruling his pack while he begged for my mercy. "Oh, It did feel good. Aurora's POV. I nod and smile as people drop gifts for the babies and say a word of prayer for them. Xavier is quite protective of the babies and insists they stay in their trolley and no one should carry them. I'm excited about his behavior, but a part of me can't just shake off the feeling of guilt. However, looking at the arrangement that Xavier and other pack members had gone through just to throw a grand ceremony for the babies reduced the guilt. They did deserve the celebration, and I wasn't going to do anything that would make Xavier suspect something was up. The babies were on their best behavior too, but Xavier spent every second checking if they were crying or asleep. I couldn't help but smile at the lovely way he watched them. It was cute. A few minutes later, the ceremony started with a display of dances and a lot of stories about how Xavier defeated rival packs. There were also tales about how he had always been great with kids, and finally, the goddess had blessed him with his own. I wasn't left out of the praises either. 2 alphas offered to dance with me, and after a nod of approval from Xavier, I obliged. The crowd roared with laughter when one of them did a misstep and almost fell. As I settled down, Xavier grunted, "I'm glad you're having fun. What do you think about the ceremony, though?" I rubbed my palms on my silk white gown and replied, "You wowed me, Alpha. I'm certain the babies love it too." He began to speak but paused, his eyebrows tightened. "What's he doing here?" I looked up, my heart beating rapidly. Alpha Lucas walked in, a smirk on his face, followed by some of his pack members. "I don't know. I thought you didn't invite the rival packs." "I didn't." Except he stopped as Alpha Lucas walked to the center of the gathering, a silence taking over the atmosphere. I clutched my hands, not knowing what to expect. He had a hard expression, and all I could think of was trouble. Xavier started to rise, but Lucas's voice made him sit. "Easy, Xavier. I'm here not to cause trouble, but claim what's rightfully mine." The crowd gasped as Xavier glanced at me. I feigned a shudder, not knowing what to say. "You weren't invited, Lucas, so take the cue and leave," Xavier roared, his men already surrounding Lucas. Lucas chuckled, glaring at me. "Your lovely babies aren't yours, but mine." I felt hot instantly, and all I could hear was the racing sound of my heart, not the crowd's yells and Xavier's grunt. I bit my bottom lip, but I wasn't going to cry. Not yet. "That's a freaking lie, Lucas," I yelled. I didn't know where the strength came from, but I rose, glaring at him. "Xavier, I demand you throw him out this minute. He's lying and shouldn't be here." Lucas yelled angrily. "Shut your trap. You cheat. I have evidence that proves the twins are mine and not Xavier's." "That's impossible. They are mine, and your evidence means nothing to me," Xavier countered. "Well, Beta Darren, what do you have to say?" I let a strangled cry as Beta Darren strolled out of the crowd leisurely. "Don't believe a word either of them says. You're the father, Xavier!" I cried, glancing at Xavier's unreadable expression. "That's a freaking lie, bastard, and you know it. How dare you give Alpha Xavier bastards?" Beta Darren chuckled bitterly, glaring at me. "It's an interesting irony, though, a bastard giving birth to bastards." I glared at him, fuming. "You know nothing of what happened, so shut it right now." Lucas laughed, flashing a dirty look at me. "He doesn't know, but I do." The crowd yelled, "Tell us what you know." Xavier's face was still, but he said nothing to stop the scene. I moved closer to him, shaking. "Aren't you going to stop them? They're making a scene and embarrassing you." Lucas's voice interrupted me. "Stop trying, Aurora. Now here we go." He smiled, facing Xavier. "You couldn't have children, Xavier, so you decided to use a surrogate to carry your seed, but unfortunately..." Most people exclaimed while I held my breath, praying Xavier wouldn't believe a thing. Lucas raised his hands, obviously enjoying himself. "Silence, everyone. I'm not done." He glanced at me and continued. "So I decided to be a nice donor, and the doctor accepted. It was quite easy to convince him. The plan was I would donate and later claim my babies. Right, Aurora?" I scoffed, feeling irritated. "That's a fucking lie. Where's the doctor if you claim you're telling the truth?" "He's around, but I have the papers. We can also do a DNA test if Xavier still has doubts." "Don't listen to him, please. I would never cheat on you. You can ask the doctors who were in charge of the process. Beta Darren, my dad," I spat bitterly, "must have worked with him to embarrass us. He never wanted me to marry you." Beta Darren laughed harshly. "Don't be stupid. Aurora, you lied to the Alpha, and you will be punished. I ignored him and held Xavier's hand. I'm telling you the truth. They are your children. I would never cheat on you. I promise you. Please say something. I beg you. Xavier huffed, removing my hand, but he said nothing. Lucas chuckled loudly as he moved closer to where we sat. I'm going to my babies from you and Xavier. You don't deserve to be an alpha, so get prepared to lose your title. Beta Darren replied, smiling widely. I agree with Alpha Lucas. An alpha who can't have his kids isn't fit to rule the pack. The crowd roared with loud yells as I fell on my chair. What the heck was going on? I glanced at Xavier, but his cold expression made me avert my glance instantly. Before I could speak, Xavier suddenly yelled, silencing everyone. That's enough, everyone, including you, Lucas. Lucas raised his brow. Aurora is a cheat and you know it. That's enough. I will deal with her by myself. Right, deal with the bitch. I turned, not surprised by the tone. It was Stella, laughing hard. She was having the best moment of her life, seeing me embarrassed and treated like she had always wanted. Beta Darren nodded, glaring at me. Finally, the world has seen what you are, a bastard and a cheat. I flinched at his words, but Xavier beat me to the response. Darren, I said, that's enough. Darren and Lucas withdrew, still laughing while I shook, hoping and praying that Xavier would believe my words and not do anything harsh to me or the babies. Xavier's POV. I glared at Lucas and yelled again. I already said that's enough. I don't want to hear anything about Aurora or my babies. Babies? They are mine, Lucas replied bitterly. They aren't yours, Lucas, but mine. Bloody liar! How can they be yours? Have you even spoken to Dr. Wen lately? He sneered, motioning to his guards to come closer. He left town. No one has seen him. You're wrong. He's been in my custody, and he's going to prove that I'm the father and you are nothing but a spineless alpha. Guards, bring him now. I scoffed, watching the guards leave. I'm not surprised you had Wen all along. You have always played dirty. Of course. I would do anything to prove to the world that you are an impotent alpha and Aurora, he spat at her, is a cheat and not as pure as everyone here thinks. The crowd muttered as the guards returned, holding Dr. Wen, who was white with shock. I didn't move or try a bit of expression. Wen, how have you been? Dr. Wen fell on his knees instantly, shaking furiously. I'm sorry, Alpha Xavier. I didn't want to work against you. Lucas threatened my family and I couldn't say no to him. I scoffed, glaring at him. I knew you couldn't be trusted and would easily betray me if you were approached, Wen. So save your apology. I don't need it. I beg you, Alpha, consider the years of service I have offered to the pack and your family. I don't care about the years you have invested, but your crime. You thought I wouldn't be aware of everything happening in this pack? This is my home. Wen and I know what's going on around here. Wen moved closer, ignoring Lucas's giggles. I'm sorry. Please, tamper mercy on me. I would never betray you again if you gave me another chance. I beg you, Alpha. You choose your path, Wen, and you will live with the consequences. I replied coldly and focused on Lucas. As for you, I can't believe you walked in here filled with a disgusting confidence and ruined a beautiful ceremony. How could you? He flashed an angry scowl at me. I had to do what was right. Those are my kids. Guards, take Lucas out of here now. Lucas sneered, glaring at me. You have no right to throw me out. I smiled mischievously. This is my pack, Lucas. Guards, take him. His men tried to intervene, but my guards were quicker and stronger. They dragged him and his men out while they were still struggling to fight back. I will be back, Xavier. This isn't over, he yelled. I don't care. As for you, Darren, I glanced at the beta, whose expression had changed since. You dared to collide with a rival and bring him to my pack. How dare you? Beta Darren moved backwards, shaking his head. It wasn't intentional. Lucas cornered me and I couldn't say no. Really? You knew what you were doing and also thought you could destroy what Aurora and I had, didn't you? That's not true. I was just stupid. No, you weren't. You approved and supplied Lucas with all the information about the pack and the ceremony. How else did he know about the babies? The ceremony? He lowered his gaze, shuddering. I knew it was an act. He would always do anything to get out of punishment. I'm sorry, Xavier. Lucas was very convincing. He was going to kill Stella if I didn't oblige. I scoffed, closing the distance between us slowly. That's interesting. But you went to his place twice, thrice, without a hint of being forced? Don't lie to me, Darren. I have people who saw you meet up with him." Darren stuttered, looking astonished. "I do know what you're talking about." "Of course you won't. You're hereby demoted from your position. Being a beta of this pack requires loyalty, but you have proved that you can't be trusted." He fell on his knees and the crowd gasped. I could hear Aurora's voice too. I hadn't looked at her since I rose from the chair. I didn't want to, because I knew what her hurt expression would do to me. Also, she had tried to prove her innocence, but right now I didn't want to deal with her until Lucas and Darren were out of here. "Xavier, please don't kill me. My children would need me. Please." Darren's voice interrupted my reverie. I huffed, not impressed. "I'm not going to kill you, Beta, but I'm stripping you of that title. You cease to be the Beta of this pack henceforth, and should I hear you exercise rights that no longer belong to you in this pack, you will pay dearly for it." He flinched as I said the last words with disgust. "Xavier, please, I have been a good Beta to you. That's in the past. You choose to work with Lucas, and you will pay dearly for it." As he was about to speak, I motioned to the guards to take him away. "Take him away and don't let him in, all right? Xavier, I'm sorry. The only reason I'm not killing you is because of your children, but if I see you near this place you will beg for death, but you wouldn't see it," I replied in a still voice. The guards grabbed him as he screamed. "Lucas pushed me to do it. I promise you, I'm not lying." I tuned off his voice and finally glanced at the crowd. Their facial expressions were of awe, disbelief, and shock. They had enough entertainment today, and whatever happened next, I didn't want them to be here. "You all can leave. That's enough entertainment for today." Aurora rose slowly as the crowd left until no one was seated. Her face was ashen, her eyes swollen, and she shuddered as she walked towards me. "Xavier." Her voice cracked as she approached me. I said nothing, but walked towards the babies, staring at them, Aurora's POV. I tried to keep my tears in check as I walked towards him. My breath was shaky and my nostrils kept dripping phlegm. The whole event with Alpha Lucas and Doc, Gwen, had affected me more than I thought. I tried to steady myself, but I kept wobbling until I stopped a breath away from Xavier. He seemed immersed in watching the babies, but I knew from his icy eyes he was thinking about everything that had happened. I coughed a little to draw his attention. He didn't budge. I called his name, not giving up. "Xavier, I'm sorry for disappointing you. I didn't intend to hurt and embarrass you." He looked up and turned, gazing at me. "You did what you had to do. There's no need to apologize." I shook my head, kneeling as tears flowed freely down my chin. "I don't deserve your mercy, and I'm ready for any punishment you pronounce on me." He clicked his tongue, but his face was hardened. "Yes, you don't. But you had a choice, right? My mother's life was on stake. I couldn't watch her die." I cringed at the thought. "Right, I was aware of your mother. You can rise." I glanced at him, surprised. "I wronged you. What I did was evil. I can't even forgive myself. How can you?" "Rise, Aurora," he replied steelly. "I'm sorry about everything, Xavier. Don't be. Lucas and Darren ruined the ceremony and I'm not in the best mood, so rise now." I rose immediately, sniffing. I have heard your apologies. No more again, please." I nodded as he picked one of the babies. "Can't believe they didn't make so much fuss throughout the ceremony. It seems they had a meeting." "I think they did too. I also feel they enjoyed every moment of the ceremony," I said despite myself. He agreed as he dropped the baby girl and muttered, "Lucas is going to pay for the interruption in the scene. I'm not going to let him go easily." "I'm sorry for everything, Xavier. He came here because of me, and I take full responsibility of my actions." A tear dropped as the scene replayed in my head. The fact that someone I once called Dad could collide with an enemy to embarrass me like this hurt the most. "It's fine. Like I said, your mum's life was on the line." I nodded, watching him as he kissed the babies. He did it slowly and in a way that made it feel heavenly. I almost wanted to draw close to him and give him a hug for still being here even after everything. "They need to be taken inside. It's getting cold." "Oh." I was surprised. "You still want me in the pack?" He shot a look like I had asked a stupid question. "Yes, who's going to take care of the babies if you leave?" "I thought you were going to banish the babies and me," I said in one breath, stealing a furtive glance at him. "Take them in, feed them and let them sleep. It's been a long day." Are you okay with everything that has happened? I asked, hoping he wouldn't be angry. He looked at me for a while and grunted. It's not okay, but this was unavoidable, Aurora. I'm not going to blame you. Oh, right. My face dropped as I thought of my fate. I shouldn't return to the house. It didn't feel right. Besides, it felt strange about the way he reacted to everything. Maybe it was a sham, or a way for him to know if I had intentionally hurt him or not. What are you waiting for? His voice broke my reverie. I quickly grabbed the trolley handle and pushed while he followed me behind. His men appeared, but they kept a safe distance until we stepped into the house. If you're hungry, inform the chef to prepare something for you. I will be in the home office if you need anything else, he muttered as he stopped at the foot of the stairway. My voice shook as I spoke. Thank you for not throwing me out with the babies. He gazed at me for a minute and turned away, his men following behind him. My heart sank as he strode into a room at the other side of the living room, and his men shut the door behind him. I wish he had said something to calm my nerves. Right now, I didn't know where I stood with him and the punishment that awaited me. As I placed the babies in the crib after a long battle of breastfeeding and bathing, my mind returned to how he had reacted to the scene displayed by Lucas and Beta Darren. Maybe my punishment would be worse than theirs. After all, I was the one who delivered the babies and lied to his face. I also claimed and swore they were his. Then, because of my lies, he was publicly ridiculed in the presence of alphas who respected him and his people. I wondered what they thought of him now. I could almost hear the whispers of the rumors that would be going on around. Stella? She would be the center of attraction as she dished out various versions of what happened. I drew my blanket closer, but I couldn't sleep. My mind wasn't at peace. I kept on thinking of various punishments Xavier would read out to me. If only he had yelled at me or said something about what I did, then my heart would feel at rest. But no, he didn't. His expression, too? He wouldn't even smile when he looked at me. I coiled as I reviewed everything that had happened. Beta Darren was out of the pack for now. I heard maids whisper about him blaming me for everything that happened. I wasn't surprised. He would never take the blame for his actions. He would rather push it on someone else and watch them burn. Luckily, Xavier wasn't dumb. He knew who Beta Darren was. I screamed into my pillow as I felt frustrated. I couldn't happen tomorrow, but I hoped Xavier was going to forgive me and be sincere about everything. Alpha Lucas's POV. I throw a chair across the room and yell loudly. I couldn't believe the whole plan failed after months of plotting and gathering evidence. The fact that Xavier had the last laugh made me feel like wrapping my hands around someone's neck. I glared at another chair and threw it across the room before I could stop myself. The chair broke into pieces and I felt relieved. I heaved, feeling tired already. I wouldn't let Xavier get away with it. He had embarrassed me in the presence of his pack and people who feared me. I poured a glass of wine and threw it into my mouth, enjoying the sweet, sour taste. Lucas, I'm sorry about everything, Darren said, interrupting the stillness of the room. I glared at him for a second. I had forgotten he was in the room. That's right. You should be sorry, Darren. He moved closer. His eyes had lost their usual spark. I lost my title as well. That's enough punishment, isn't it? Yeah, from Xavier, not from me, but we will deal with your incompetence later. Incompetence? I made a mistake. I should have done enough research before giving us a go-ahead, but I did my best. He huffed, settling near me. I laughed, pouring myself another glass full. You know, I was thrown out. They didn't even do it with gentleness, Darren. I lost a button or two. I'm sorry. I'm sure we can figure out what to do next. Xavier and Aurora can't get away with this, he sniffed, shaking his head. I can't believe I'm no longer the beta. That's one of the prices you pay when you work with me. You should be proud of yourself, though. He shot a confused look at me. Why should I? I smacked my lips, glancing at him. Not everyone lives to tell the tale after crossing Xavier. He spared your life. That's something. He scoffed, not feeling excited. He left me alive because he has a sick plan for me. I can feel it in every fiber of my veins. The earlier we figure out our next plan, the better for us, I nodded. Of course, I am already plotting something. What's it? Before I spill, what about Aurora? His face turned ugly. She's with him. Obviously, our plan didn't work, Lucas. Okay, good. That means the babies are with her? Yes, what are you getting at? We accomplished a bit of our plan. Everyone knows the babies aren't for Xavier, so I can do anything I want with them. That's right. What are you planning? I smiled as I relaxed in the chair. Stepping into Xavier's pack had given me a good advantage. I was able to count the men he had on the ground and how the security was, too. It was tight, but I know there was going to be a way to get in without attracting attention. I just needed the right hand for the job. Hold on. I need someone else in the room before I divulge my plans. I signaled the guard across the room. Get Viper, the assassin. Tell him not to keep me waiting. An assassin? That's dangerous, Lucas. Darren chuckled, a glint of evil in his eyes. I smiled, raising a glass. I knew you were going to like my plan. You're a smart man. He laughed, sitting up. I didn't see that coming, though. You're an evil genius, Alpha. I wouldn't have thought of an assassin. Viper walked in before I responded. He wore a black leather jacket and jeans. His face was scrawny with a scar across his chin. His eyes were tiny, but I knew what was behind them. He nodded at Darren and drew a chair, pouring himself a drink. Viper, this is Beta Darren. I nodded towards Darren. He's a friend and part of the plan. Viper glanced at him and nodded. I know him. How do you do? Darren smiled quickly. Good, I'm no longer a beta, but that shouldn't affect our relationship? No, so what's the mission? I grunted, flexing one of my shoulders. Xavier and his cute family. I want them wiped out. A clean sheet. Nothing should be traced to us. Can you do it? Do you have the map of the pack, security posts, and the usual logistics? Viper asked, rubbing his fists. Darren, you have everything, right? I asked as he nodded. Good, so what else do you need? Xavier is the toughest alpha in this land. It's going to be a difficult one, Alpha Lucas. I scoffed, hating the hint of respect he had for Xavier. He's a wolf just like anyone. I'm sure it would be easy for him. You will be equipped with the best equipment. If you need my men, you have them too. He sighed, glancing at me. You don't understand. Even with the map to help with navigation, Xavier's quarters are impenetrable. Except Darren knows a loose end? We glanced at Darren, who seemed lost. I'm sorry, but I don't. His guards never leave the doors, and the maids, they are the worst. You can't even seduce them. I have tried before. What about Aurora's quarters? I asked, trying to think of an alternative. There was always a loose end. You just had to figure it out. She's in Xavier's quarters, except things changed after yesterday. Viper seemed unaffected as he replied. I would figure a loose end then. The maids or the cells beneath the building. Right, I almost forgot. I think there is a passage that leads to the main quarters. It's at the back of the building. A small dingy hole. Darren smiled. Viper rose, his eyes focused on Darren. I will be expecting the maps then. The payment? I rose, offering my hands. If the plan goes as we talked, I will double your charge, Viper, but you must know this. If you get caught, we never spoke. Viper's lips curved into a dirty smile. Of course, I have never failed in a mission before, except I'm ratted. I hope I can trust you? I shook his hand with a wide smile. You can? My men will settle you with half payment. Thank you, man. He nodded, taking a brief look at Darren. I will see you around then. Have a good day. Darren let out a sigh of relief as soon as he left. He's a scary figure. I nodded, watching him. He had been affected by Viper's presence, and I felt great knowing that. He's right. If he fails, that means someone told someone about our plans. He's the best assassin here, Darren. He threw his head back, surprised. I wouldn't tell a soul about this. You can trust me. I do trust you, but it would be nice if you knew the consequences of crossing me. I wouldn't. I have lost too much to betray you. Xavier has to go down one way or the other. I said nothing for a while. If the plan went as I expected, Xavier would be dead, and I could ascend the throne, finally. I couldn't wait. All right, cheers to our victory. He poured a glass and clicked it with mine. Cheers, Alpha Lucas. Aurora's POV. I repeated the instructions for the nanny. If you need anything, call me, all right? The nanny nodded as I kissed my babies. All right, Luna. When will you be back? I glanced at the shopping list that I wrote and sighed. There were a lot of items I wanted to buy, including clothes. Most of my outfits were maternity gowns, and now that I had delivered the twins, I needed something I was comfortable wearing. Probably by noon. I wouldn't take time, though. The drive to the shopping mall was long and boring. One of Xavier's men had insisted on driving me here, and after 30 minutes of argument, I couldn't say no. Xavier had increased the number of men watching the quarters and babies since Lucas made a scene during the ceremony. The memory was still fresh, and Xavier and I hadn't spoken much since then. I felt sorry for myself for a few minutes and smiled. At least he hadn't thrown me out, and he was still kind to the babies. I strolled into the mall, taking in the beauty and the air of affluence and fabrics. The section that had patterned dresses attracted me instantly, and I strode towards there. A sales attendant appeared by my side and helped with compliments. "Do you think this is cute?" I asked, realizing I enjoyed her company. She nodded with a huge smile. "This is perfect. You can try the white gown too. It seems to fit your physique." "You're right. I was thinking I should try." I paused as my eyes caught Christabel and Stella. Of course, they had to be here on all days. I hoped they stayed in their section because I wasn't in the mood for Stella's hateful words or Christabel's tantrums. "How about we check some shoes? I would love flat ones," I said, moving already. The sales attendant helped put the clothes in a trolley. "It's on the other side of the room. What about shirts, jeans?" I shook my head. I had enough jeans and shirts. I would prefer skirts, something that sings, "Mother is in town." She giggled, glancing at me. "I have heard the Luna was funny, but I wasn't expecting you to be as funny as this." I bowed a little, feeling proud of myself. "Thank you for the compliment. It is one, right?" "Aurora, what are you doing here?" I sighed as I turned. I already knew the owner of the voice before I replied, but gazing into her eyes, I felt irritated already. Nothing good ever comes from a conversation with Stella. "I don't think I owe you an explanation on why I am here, Stella." I added her name with irritation, facing the sales attendant. "Can we go now? I still have other items I would love to purchase." "You aren't going anywhere. What do you think you're doing here? Shopping in a place that Stella and I own?" Christabel yelled, glaring at me. "Own. Don't be ridiculous, Christabel. I'm not in the mood for your fights this morning, so please move." She chuckled suddenly, and before I could figure out what she was about to do next, my items were on the floor. "Great. Now, do I have your attention?" "What's wrong with you?" I asked, clenching my fists. She and Stella laughed. "You shouldn't be here, girl. This place is for people with class. Why did they even allow you here?" I rolled my eyes as the sales attendant picked the outfits. "This mall is for everyone, and not for you and Stella." Christabel threw her back with a surprised glance. "Right, we will see about that. Call your manager, right now." The sales attendant looked confused, but Christabel yelled louder, attracting some women's curious gazes from the other side of the room. "Get him now before I cause a scene." I sighed, shaking my head. "You and Stella need to get a life, honestly." The manager appeared as she replied, "Being a baby mama isn't a life, Aurora. So, do us a favor and stop thinking you are better than all of us." She rolled her eyes at me and turned to the manager. "As for you, I want her out of here this minute." The manager looked at me, confused. "She's the Luna. I can't throw her out. Alpha Xavier would kill me if I did that to his bride." Christabel snickered. "I don't care if she's the Alpha. I spend up to $100 million in 6 months here. Do you want to lose that kind of money?" "Fuck. I can't send her out because you don't want her. Here, Christabel," the manager said, shooting an apologetic look at me. I smiled, moving closer to her. "So, because you spend a few million here, that means I have no right to shop here?" Stella darted a hateful glare at me. "Of course, dummy. This place isn't for your kind." "Oh, what's my kind?" "A baby mama who isn't even married to Xavier. You should be ashamed of yourself, Aurora." She spat with disgust, her eyes filled with hate. "Stella, I'm a mother of a beautiful girl and a handsome boy. You can never relate to that." She laughed, staring at Christabel. "You think being a baby mama is the best thing ever?" I smiled boldly at her. "Of course, it's better than being a bitter woman who no one wants. Not even a guard would ask you out, Stella. Every man in the pack sees you as a bitter, jealous woman. If you think I'm lying, ask Christabel why no one has ever asked you out." "You're lying, fool," Christabel replied, but not with so much hate as before. I knew I was right. "Thanks for proving me right, honey. I think you and Stella should go home and review your lives before it's too late. No one wants to stay with a woman who's jealous and always envious of others. It's dark and ugly. Stella rushed towards me, raising her hand, but I caught it, glaring at her. You have the guts to raise your hand at me? You think I'm still the old Aurora you used to bully? Let me go, and I will deal with you as you deserve, she struggled, trying to remove her grip from mine. She failed, though. Being a Luna and mother had made me stronger than before, and as the realization dawned, she stopped fighting. Christabel laughed darkly. Stella, let her go. We will deal with her another time. Stella heaved hard as I let go of her hand. You're a slut and a freaking bitch. I hate you. Get a life, honey. Being a jealous vixen isn't going to help you get Xavier. You lost that battle a long time ago. I laughed hard, mimicking her face. She rushed towards me, but before I could defend myself, a man stepped between us. Let's go now, you're causing a scene. The man replied. He wore a black leather jacket, and the scar across his chin made him look deadly. I swallowed and allowed him to lead me outside. I could hear Stella's yells and curses. Another day. I wouldn't let her go without giving her a befitting slap. As for Christabel, I had a feeling she was going to meet her nemesis soon. It was just a matter of time. Aurora's POV. I stopped in my tracks as the man returned to the mall. Out of curiosity, I follow behind and watch him walk up to Stella, who's still angry. What did you think you were doing? He demanded, glaring at Stella. She rolled her eyes. She started everything. I didn't do anything to that bitch. Bitch, you dare disrespect your Luna. How dare you? I didn't mean to. She made me angry. She gazed at him, her features relaxed. I held a giggle as I realized why Stella was behaving calmly now. The young man was handsome, and the way he spoke was enthralling. Any woman would have apologized immediately, so I didn't blame Stella. You should know how to behave in public, not yelling like a banshee, all right? She rolled her eyes and stormed away. I guess the last words didn't settle well with her. The crowd also dispersed, and I quickly returned to where he had left me. He appeared before me as I glanced at my wristwatch. Hi, Aurora. Are you okay? I smiled, glancing at him. He wasn't a familiar face, which meant he was either new in town or wasn't from here. Yes, thank you for intervening before things got out of hand. I'm grateful. He shook his head, gazing at me. I held my breath, afraid that my intakes might affect what he was about to say. I didn't do anything. You pretty much handled yourself, Luna. Oh, you know who I am, but I don't know you. I'm Aaron. I just moved into town, Viper said, smiling widely. I cocked my head, nodding. That's a nice name. Thank you for your help once again and welcome to town. He smiled, shrugging. Thank you. So, how about a dinner? You and I, in a fancy restaurant, and you can tell me the rules and regulations of the town. A straightforward man, huh? He scoffed, his eyes roaming over me. I know the best things are gotten when you're bold about your intentions with them. That's the first time I've heard that. He grinned, his scar glinting. My mama taught me right, Aurora. So what do you say to my offer? There was something about him, but I couldn't place it. It felt intriguing, and as much as I wanted to say yes to his offer, I couldn't. I'm sorry. I smiled small, averting my gaze. But I'm taken. I'm Luna, like you mentioned earlier. Of course, I know. It will be a friendly date, so Xavier wouldn't have to worry about me snatching his gorgeous Luna. Gorgeous? He touched my chin and smiled. You're a gorgeous woman, Aurora, and I would love to take you out, if you would like. I bit my lower lip and laughed nervously. I'm sorry, I can't. Xavier is the alpha, and if he discovers this, you will be in danger. So you care about my safety? He laughed, dropping his hand. Of course, I do. You helped me with Stella's situation, and I will feel bad if any bad thing happens to you. All right, I guess I will be seeing you around. Have a safe drive. He replied as I walked to my car. I opened the passenger's door, nodding at him. I will see you around, Aaron. For a moment, he looked confused, but he smiled quickly. Yeah, right. I watched him until he disappeared among the cars and the crowd around the park. He was a nice gentleman, but that wasn't the only reason why I felt safe around him. He had stood up for me, too. That was something I didn't get every day, and it did feel good. Xavier's man and I made a few stops to get groceries and toiletries and some baby clothes for the babies. Once he pulled at the house, I let out a sigh of exhaustion. It had been a long day. Xavier was settled on the long couch when I stepped into his office. He had a blank expression on his face as he read a paper he held. I could feel a chill in the atmosphere, but I shrugged it off. It was probably the air. "Hi, how are the babies? Are they asleep?" he muttered, not glancing at me. "They're asleep." I started to speak. But stopped, as I noticed he had returned his attention to the paper. I took the hint, turning towards the doorway. His voice stopped me. "Who was that guy you were talking to?" I turned, looking confused. "What guy? I don't know what you're talking about." His brows knotted, making me feel frightened. "The guy you were speaking to in the car park, the one who touched you?" My heartbeat increased as I lowered my gaze. He was no one. He helped with a scuffle in the mall. "So he decided to flirt with you as a way to accept your gratitude? Have you no shame, Aurora?" "I didn't do anything with him," I protested, heaving hard. "Yes, you did. I can't believe how desperate you have become. Is it because I haven't touched you in a while? That's why you decided to flirt with him, right? You enjoyed it, didn't you?" he flared, rising. I flinched, moving back a bit. "Why are you saying those hurtful words to me? You know I didn't do anything with him, Xavier." "I know what I saw and heard, Aurora. You stink of desperation right now." "I didn't do anything." "Oh, right. But you were smiling and laughing at his words. This is all because I haven't touched you in a while. You should have told me, and I would have satisfied your fantasies instead of flirting with a guy in public." I sniffed as he closed the distance between us. "I wasn't desperate. He helped me out, that's all. No, you missed me, hence you choose to allow him to touch you." He grabbed me and kissed me roughly. I struggled, not unable to breathe. "Xavier, please, I can't breathe." He gripped me harder, biting my bottom lip. "This is what you wanted, right? That's why you choose to flirt with him." "It was a harmless conversation," I replied as he let go of my lips. "I don't believe you. He touched you." He grabbed me, kissing me hard again. I tried to push him off, but his grip was stronger, and the way he kissed, I could feel the taste of blood. He was hurting me, and he knew it, but didn't stop. I sniffed, hitting him, but he continued, laughing on my lips. "Aurora's POV. Stop it, please." "You're hurting me," I cried, pushing him hard. He scoffed, glaring at me. "You're rejecting me because of his touch? You love him, right? Xavier, I already told you nothing happened between us." I sniffed, shuddering. My lips were swollen, but he cared was the encounter with Aaron. "But you enjoyed his touch. You wanted him. That's why you are rejecting me." "No, that's not true. You know that." He clicked his tongue. "I don't know anything but what I saw and your rejection just now. But I just gave birth to your children. It's not even up to a month, and my body is still healing. Do you think I will be desperate for a guy when I haven't recovered, huh?" I asked, with a hint of anger. "I don't know. You were the one laughing at his jokes, not me. Do you still think I'm a whore desperate for any man? Is that what you think of me?" "I saw you with a man, and you were flirting with him. How did you expect me to react?" "You should have asked questions." I sighed and told him what happened. Stella and Christabel showed up at the mall and caused a scene. He intervened before things escalated. He was just a harmless stranger who didn't want us to fight. Do you understand? He huffed, ignoring my gaze. "I don't understand why you allowed him touch you. He should have walked away, but you enabled him." I laughed, not believing. "This isn't fair. I have proven to you that nothing happened between us, but you just want to treat me like a cheap whore, right?" "Aurora," he called as I reached for the door. "I don't know what you think you saw, but I'm not a whore. I have self-respect, and I wish you would accord me with such." I slammed the door behind me and rushed to my room, locking it. I didn't want him coming after me because I didn't want to say anything I might regret. I had tried to prove my innocence, but he was adamant about believing what he saw. I sniffed as I recalled the conversation with Aaron. If I were desperate as he claimed, I would have done more than flirt with Aaron. Heck, I could have accepted his date offer, but because I respected Xavier and myself, I had said no. But with the way Xavier had treated me, it hurt me so much. I sniffed, crying loudly as I fell on my bed. He made me feel so small and dirty. The way he had grabbed, kissed me, and talked to me, my heart clenched as I sniffed harder. "Aurora, stop hurting yourself. I believe you if he didn't," my wolf said, interrupting my sad moment. I sniffed, nodding. "I wish he would just give me the benefit of the doubt. I know I messed up during the ceremony, but that justifies how he treated me like a cheap slut? You aren't a cheap slut, but a decent, good Luna. If only he would see that in me. Aaron was good with me, but I respected our union and didn't even kiss the guy. Stop crying, Aurora. You're hurting me too, hope you know that? I sniffed, smiling a bit. I'm sorry, I just can't get why he behaved like that with me. I have proved myself to him, right? Yes, you have, and I'm certain he would come around. I hope he does. Aaron just acted like a gentleman. We barely even touched. He was probably feeling possessive of you, but stop crying. Once he realizes he treated this issue wrongly, he will be back with an apology. I sniffed and faced the ceiling. If he didn't come around, I wasn't going to speak with him or allow him around the twins. A gentle knock made me rise. Go away. I don't want to speak with you, I screamed, lying back. The knock increased, making me scream. I told you to go away. I want to be left alone, please. The knock stopped, and just as I was about to close my eyes, it came again. Seriously, I wanted to be left alone. I stepped out of the bed, sniffed, and opened the door. Xavier stood there with a bouquet and a sad smile. I wasn't moved by any of his acts. What do you want? I came to apologize. I shouldn't have spoken to you in that manner, nor made you feel less of yourself. I scoffed, rolling my eyes. You hurt me, Xavier, even after I explained what happened. Please leave. I just want to sleep and forget about everything that happened. I'm truly sorry. I don't know what got into me. Oh yeah, you just acted like that, because it's part of you, right? He shook his head and replied in a serious tone. I can't stand it when another man touches or talks to you. I always feel so angry and jealous. I don't know if you understand. I felt a sense of warmth hearing his sincere confession. He did care about me. I do understand. Thank you. I know our contract doesn't allow a relationship between us, but I don't like other men talking or touching you. It weirdly itches my skin. I just want you to belong only to me, he pouted a bit, making me smile. I didn't know how deeply I affected you, Xavier. You do in ways you can't imagine. I am sorry for my behavior once again. Would you accept these flowers? I gazed at his eyes. They were filled with love and despair. This was one of the few moments I could read what was going on in his eyes, and it felt good. I forgive you, Alpha. The flowers? He smiled, handing them to me. And I accept the bouquet. Thank you. They smell nice. I sniffed them, enjoying the rosy scent. I picked them specially for you. I will check on the babies while you rest, all right? Thank you, Xavier. Also for the bouquet. You know I wouldn't hurt you intentionally? He stared at me for a second and nodded. Neither would I. Enjoy your rest. I smiled widely until my cheeks hurt and watched him go. Once I closed the door, I settled on my bed and stared at the bouquet. My wolf was right after all. He did come around, and for the first time since I remember, he was raw with his emotions. He always guarded his feelings and never allowed anyone in. But today, I realized that sometimes he could let his guard down, especially when it dealt with someone whom he cared for. Also, I didn't miss the warning in his tone when he spoke about other men. I had to be careful henceforth. I didn't want a repeat of today's event, nor the exchange of emotions that had taken a toll on me. So I had to do everything to avoid the handsome man with a scar below his chin who had made my heart flutter. Xavier was enough for me until he said otherwise. Aurora's POV. The guards nodded at me as I walked into the mall, pushing the baby's trolley. I heard there was a play area for children, and I made up my mind earlier in the week to check it out. I replied to some women's greetings as I pushed the trolley and tried to hold my bag properly. I should have asked the nanny to tag along, but I wanted an alone moment with the babies. A few minutes later, I arrived at the play area and noticed there were moms around with their babies, crawling and playing with toys. Okay, this should be good. I quickly greeted and dropped the babies to join the group. I settled down near a brunette slim woman and watched them play with toys. They are lovely. What are their names? I smiled, looking at the brunette, Jay and Janny. Thank you for the compliment. Xavier was yet to give them names, but I did. I was tired of identifying them as babies. Besides, he had pet names he gave them, so I guessed he wouldn't mind what I did. Those are lovely names. My baby boy Chris is over there. He's been crying all morning, so decided to bring him here and see how he's giggling now. I followed her gaze to the blonde boy across the room, throwing toys around. He took her features, including her small eyes. He's a handsome baby boy. Yes, he is. You don't come here often, do you? I guessed from her question she didn't know I was the Luna. No, I'm a new mom, and I just found out about the play area a few days ago. I heard my nanny talking about it to her daughter, so I decided to try it out today. Oh, that's good. What do you think about it? I scanned the room. Some women were laughing hard in a group, while some were eating and gisting with each other. They seemed happy and relaxed. Motherhood was interesting, and I could tell from them that it was worth the ride. It's been fun so far. I'm Aurora, I said, offering my hand for a shake. She took it, and her hand was warm. It's a pleasure to meet you. I'm Vivian, a new mother too. Well, most of us here are new moms, and like me, they just moved into town. Oh, that explains why she didn't know me nor my status. Oh, wow. Little wonder your face didn't ring a bell. I smiled widely. She shrugged. I'm from the West, but I fell in love with this town when I came visiting an old family friend. I went to a party, met a handsome guy, and we fell in love. The rest, they say, is history. That's a lovely story. Do you enjoy the town? It's peaceful and the neighbors are nice. I heard the Alpha is a kind man too, but I haven't met him before. Oh, he's a good man, I said, not sure if I should reveal who I was. It's not like she was going to mock me for being a baby mama like Stella, or inquire about how we got together, though. So, what's your story? She asked, her eyes glowing. Well, she did. I sighed, looking at the babies. It's a long one, but it's just like yours. There's really not much to tell like yours. That's fine. Let me introduce you to other moms. I'm sure they would be glad to have a new addition to our group. I was surprised by her acceptance of my story, but before I could offer more explanation or an apology, she had beckoned on other moms to join us. We talked about everything, and the most ridiculous things about being a mother. They were also generous with food recipes that worked for nursing mothers. I was grateful. Also, I discovered not all of them were new to town like Vivian said. I recognized 2 women from the pack, and they were extremely polite to me. Thankfully, they didn't reveal my identity, and we even became friendly when everyone shared their pregnancy cravings. The craziest thing about my husband is that he prefers to stay with the baby until he sleeps, rather than changing diapers, Vivian said, drawing laughter from other women. But no one loves changing diapers. It's a battle, trust me. One woman commented, getting nods of approval from some women. I smiled small as I remembered my ordeals. Thankfully, my mom was always around to teach me a thing or two, and she was helpful when the babies refused to stop crying. What about their cries? Vivian asked, looking at everyone. Some days I cry with them, especially when I'm exhausted. My husband finds it weird. He shouldn't. I cry too, but it's because of hunger, another brunette woman said, giggling with the other moms. What about you, Aurora? Oh, me? I asked, surprised. I wasn't aware I needed to contribute, except laughter and an occasional oh and ahs. They nodded, glancing at me. I felt hot immediately. How do I tell them that most times I couldn't even think straight due to activities that had happened lately? They wouldn't understand. As I was about to reply, a commotion outside made us look at the door. What's happening? Vivian asked, picking up her baby. I shrugged as I joined the moms to pick up our babies. I don't know. Maybe I should check with the manager. Someone is coming! Vivian yelled as we heard the pounding of footsteps approaching us. I glanced at their faces and I felt scared immediately. Everyone in the room was frightened. Ned and the noise coming from outside the door was loud and couldn't be ignored. Where's the Luna? A frightened male voice yelled as the door pushed open. I swallowed with relief as I realized it was one of Xavier's men. 2 other men followed behind him, fear written all over their faces. I'm here. What's going on? Some thugs attacked the mall. Xavier ordered us to take you and the babies home immediately. I glanced at the women's faces. Some were surprised, but I smiled, not wanting to draw more attention or offer any information other than what they had heard. Thank you, ladies. I hope we see each time. The guard helped with my bag while I pushed the trolley out. The chaos was frightening. The mall was destroyed and people were running all over the place. We got into the car, and I noticed another one following behind as we drove off. Xavier must have really been scared for him to send another vehicle. I focused on making the babies quiet as the car passed streets and raced with high speeds. "Easy, please. I have babies here," I said as the babies started crying again. The driver either didn't hear me or refused to answer me. I looked up, about to complain again, when I noticed we had driven past our route to the house. We were on a strange highway, and the sides of the road were covered with a thick forest. My heart raced as I swallowed. Where are we? This isn't the route to the quarters. The driver and guard scoffed, but they didn't reply. I glanced at the babies and the car, and suddenly it made sense. They were kidnapping me and the babies. That was why they were taking a different route. I screamed immediately. "Stop the car, you fools!" They ignored me, but I continued screaming until the guard turned and shot me a dark look. "Keep your mouth shut right now." "Where are you taking us?" I asked, my voice shaking. He focused on the road and continued humming the song playing on the radio. I swallowed and tried to focus. I need to focus and mind link with Xavier so that he would know what was going on. "Xavier, please, something is going on. I don't know where the men are taking the babies and me." Xavier seemed to be fighting it because I couldn't feel a connection. I tried again, this time a bit louder. "Please, if you can hear me, listen. They are taking us to an unknown location. We passed a highway. I don't want to lose the babies, please. Come and help us." Xavier fought it again. Why was he blocking our connection? I huffed and pushed again. "Xavier, if you can hear me, help us, please." Suddenly, the car jumped and I hit my head, triggering my wolf. Before I could stop myself, I transformed, making the driver jump in fright and swerving off the road. My wolf jumped on them, and as they screamed, she tore them and threw them against the window. They were dead. I shuddered as I transformed into my human form and stared at the mess. I had never killed anyone before until now. I sniffed as I steadied my hands and pushed their bodies out of the car. The babies stirred, but they didn't make a noise. Maybe because they realized what I was and were frightened. The sound of the other car approaching broke my pity party. I needed to get out of here. I cleaned the window screen and settled into the driver's seat. My hands shook as I cried. I couldn't drive. What was I thinking? We were going to die here, and Xavier wouldn't find us. Goosebumps appeared on my skin as the other car slowed down on the road. I quickly wore my seatbelt and focused on remembering the few times Xavier had tried to teach me how to drive. I hit the accelerator and turned around, making a screeching sound. I hit a few stops, but I continued driving ahead. My hands were sweaty, but the racing car behind me was the only thing that made me not stop. I kept driving zigzag, but I continued. Soon I was off the highway and on a familiar route to the pack. A car honked behind me, making me jump. I looked at the window, and a sigh of relief escaped my lips. I had lost the other car, Aurora's POV. Xavier held my hand as I closed my eyes, listening to the honks of cars passing us by. The driver was driving slowly, thanks to Xavier's order. He squeezed my hands, expecting a reaction, but I just smiled. I was tired. We had returned to the event, and I realized no one knew about our quickie in the vehicle. The driver also had a headphone over his head, so he didn't hear my moans or the vibrations of the vehicle as Xavier pumped into me. "Is something funny?" Xavier whispered into my ear, making me jump. I shook my head, smiling small. "I was just thinking about us and the babies. I have missed them. We will be home soon, and you will be with them. Now, about us?" He raised his eyebrow, a smirk on his face. I laughed, pushing him playfully. "You know what I'm talking about. I don't want your driver to hear us." He chuckled, unbuttoning his tuxedo. "He won't, and even if he did, he won't tell anyone that the Luna is a naughty lady." "I am not. I was thinking about our outing and nothing else." "Oh, how about this?" His hand slid into my gown, and I giggled, slapping him off. "Behave, Xavier. We're on the road. We could park somewhere. The driver would excuse us, and you can tell me everything that is going on in your head, or you can just—" He moved nearer, his hand sliding into my gown again. "Allow me to show you what you need." I bit my lower lip, gripping his hand before it moved deeper. "Not here. Besides, I wasn't thinking about what happened in the park." He huffed, falling back. "Right. So what were you thinking of, if not the number of times I made you come?" "Oh, boy." I giggled, blushing hard. "I don't know what you're talking about." He cocked his head, his lips curved in a cheesy smile. "Are you sure, Aurora? Don't you remember how you called—" "No," moaned my name. I don't. I'm blank right now, I replied, laughing as he mimicked my voice. Do you remember now? I laughed, shaking my head. You're a clown, Xavier. Are you insulting your alpha? His tone changed, making me stutter. No, I didn't. I didn't mean it. I didn't mean it. I glanced at him, expecting a harsh word. It was funny how quickly our relationship changed. 1 minute, we were friends, and the next, he was dissing out harsh words at me. He smiled, his eyes glowing. I'm messing around with you. You should see your face, so frightened. Xavier, that wasn't funny, I glared at him. But this is. He leaned and tilted his head a bit. I don't know what it is about you, Aurora, but anytime I'm with you, I want to do all the crazy things in my head to you and hear you beg me to stop. I swallowed as his thumb traced my lips. The driver? He scoffed, his eyes dark. He wouldn't say a word. I told you already. I need. The car screeched as a vehicle bumped into us, making me yell. What's happening? Lionel, what's the situation? Xavier yelled, looking outside. The driver stuttered, trying to stay on the road. I think we are under attack, Alpha. There's another vehicle coming behind us. Try to overtake them. Don't do anything rash, though. He ordered, gazing at me. Are you okay? I screamed as another car bumped into us on the left side of the road. Xavier held my hand, yelling orders at the driver. I could tell he wasn't frightened like I was and wanted to be out. If you go out there, they would kill you, I whispered as he removed his tux. He shook his head, his expression hard. If I stay here, we will all die. As the driver swerved to the middle of the road, the cars followed him, staying side by side. The road was empty except for us and the forest surrounding us. I gripped Xavier's hands tighter and thought about the twins. Who would take care of them if we die here? My mum wasn't as healthy as before, and Xavier didn't have a strong family to take care of them. The pack might reinstate Beta Darren, and he would gladly trade my babies to a slave master or give them to the humans. Aurora, place your head down, Xavier yelled as gunshots filled the air. They were shooting at us. I knelt on the ground, shaking vigorously while Xavier dug out his gun and fired a few shots. They increased their shots, and I screamed as the window got shattered and fell inside the car. Lionel, Xavier yelled as the car tires screeched, swerving left. I held the car seat, crying. This was how I was going to end. In a car crash. Hold on, Aurora. I need to get to the driver's seat or else we are going to die. Is Lionel dead? I whispered, glancing at Lionel's slumped body. Xavier glanced briefly at me and nodded. They are retreating already. Don't make a sound. He crawled to the driver's seat, pushed Lionel's body to the other side, and held the steering wheel, driving slowly. I peeped outside, and a sigh of relief escaped my lips. The vehicles had taken off into a path leading to the forest. I could hear their racing speed as I sat up. We will be home soon, but be on the lookout. They might be playing a game with us, Xavier said as he sat, ruining his white with Lionel's blood stain on the seat. I shuddered, glancing at his body. There was a pool of blood around his body, and he wasn't breathing. Do you think they would be back? He threw a backward gaze at me but continued driving. Are you injured? I glanced at my skin and palms. There were scratches from the glass, and my head had a small cut. I couldn't remember getting the cut, but as I touched it, it hurt badly. I'm okay. Just a few scratches. What about you? None are serious? I shook my head as he glanced at me through the mirror. None are serious. What about you? I repeated, steadying my voice for my next line of words. You didn't get hit, I hope? I got a scratch on my chin, but that's all. Poor Lionel, he muttered as he increased the speed of the car. Poor Lionel, I muttered, tears dripping. He was just doing his job, and they killed him. I wondered how we were going to break the news to his wife and kids. They would be devastated. I couldn't imagine the pain they would go through after this. I would get who did this to us, Aurora. Mark my words, Xavier said in a cold voice. They should start counting their time left on Earth, because once I get them, it's going to be their last time living on this surface. I flinched as the weight of his words fell on me. When Xavier's mind was made up, no one could change it, not even me. So I gave up on trying to convince him not to be violent once he got the attackers. The drive home was long, but I kept filling the silence with my sniffles and coughs. Xavier focused on the road and muttered about most shortcuts closed down by stupid humans. A few minutes later, we drove into the pack, and the sight of the quarters was a huge relief. We're home, Xavier said, parking a few meters from the house. I gulped as I started shivering again. Yes, thank you. He carried Lionel's body out of the car and covered it with his tuxedo. My men would take care of the body, and we will do a funeral once his family is informed. I nodded, closing the door behind me. Thank you for saving my life. We could have died, but you made sure. I paused, crying. I couldn't continue. The whole incident was so fresh that I could still hear the gunshots and Lionel's screams. Are you okay? Come here, Aurora, he ordered, drawing me into a hug. I nodded, sniffing him and relaxing. I'm okay now, thank you. He kissed my forehead and led me into the quarters. He didn't let go until I was tucked into my bed, and he waited until I closed my eyes and fell into a deep sleep. Xavier's POV. Collins, the new beta, nodded as I dropped the map of the town. I had marked the road where Aurora and I had been attacked, including the forest they had escaped to. The searches had so far been discouraging, and not a single trace of the attackers had been found. We need to check the area again, especially that house you and the men found. I gritted as I circled the vicinity with a red marker. Collins sighed, glancing at me. We have checked there 10 times now, and I still have 2 men out there, keeping watch over the building. They haven't been home since last week. I don't care. You are going to search there again for even tiniest clue, and also the other houses in the environment. They are humans, Alpha, and we asked. They don't know anything about the house or the attackers. What did they say? I sneered, glaring at him. I was beginning to doubt the competence of Collins. He had proven to be the best person for the beta role after Darren betrayed the pack, and due to his amazing hunting skills, I had chosen him. However, right now, I felt like wrapping my hands around his neck and shoving him to the wall until he begged for breath. He breathed hard, averting my glare like he knew what I was thinking. They claim no one has used the house in years. It belonged to an old couple who moved to the state. Right. How about the trails? We traced it and found the vehicles, but no one was in sight. I sneered, clenching my fists. Did you and your men even make an effort to trace the scent? There was rain, Alpha. Whatever scent that was in the car and in the air, we lost it. I slammed my fists, making him flinch. I ordered you to start the search before the rain. Why did you disobey me? He stuttered, his eyes roaming everywhere but my face. There was an emergency in the pack, the night we had a fire outbreak. Which proved to be a false alarm, Collins. You failed me. I huffed, trying to contain my anger. If you had started the search early, we would have found those bastards. I'm sorry, Alpha, but even if I started early, we still wouldn't have found them. Their scents were a mixture of a lot of herbs. They didn't want anyone finding them, I said, completing his thoughts. So what do we do now? He glanced at the map for a few seconds and marked some unfamiliar spots. We haven't searched this vicinity. I held his hand and shook my head. It was a dangerous place filled with wild animals. As much as I wanted them to find the attackers, I didn't want to lead them to their death. Don't go there. It's filled with wild animals. You and the men won't survive a day there. Wild animals? Great. That means the attackers could be there, and if I were trying to hide from Alpha Xavier, I would pick a place I know he won't want to venture into due to the complications. You get it? I scoffed. He was right. They could be there, but it was dangerous. No, you aren't going there. Keep your ears alert and spread the word about a bounty hunt. I'm certain they would show up when we least expect. And if they don't? He raised a worried brow. I gritted my teeth. I was already annoyed that the search had proven to be a waste so far, and he was still being pessimistic. Pray, they show up, or else you will be out of the beta position before you can say, Jill. He shifted uncomfortably on his feet. I would get to work then. I ignored him as he gathered the map and closed the door behind him. The only thing that was stopping me from going on the hunt by myself was Aurora and the kids. I didn't realize how much hold they had on me until the attack, and I wanted to be alive to be there and see them grow. A few hours later, I walked into the kids' playroom and met Aurora, the nanny, and the kids laughing and playing. They were growing so fast and looking lovable every moment of the day. I settled on a couch and watched them as Aurora mouthed a greeting at me. The nanny excused herself and left us alone. It was at this moment I felt the tension between us. As she tilted her hair and sang to the kids, I felt my heart constrict. It was hard to explain. I leaned forward, clutching my chest. I couldn't breathe. "Come and join us, Xavier," she said happily as I steadied my breath and tried to behave. "Right. Hey, babies. Jay looks like you just broke his heart." I laughed as I returned the toy Aurora took from him. "He's been biting it all day. It's not healthy," she protested, pouting her lips. I leaned closer. I couldn't resist and kissed her softly. "Oh, Aurora," she giggled on my lips. "The kids, it's their playtime, not ours, so please behave." I withdrew as she touched me, and I felt my body shudder. She was affecting me in a way I didn't like and couldn't control. "Are you all right? You look pale," she said, touching my chin. I rose, avoiding her touch. "I need to check up on the men. I will be back." She looked at me strangely, but smiled quickly. "All right, I will inform the chef to prepare lunch then. Please be back early, okay?" I nodded and leaned to kiss the kids. "I promise. Have fun with them." Sometimes the best confidante was my gamma, Luis. He always knew the right words to say and also when to just let me talk about how I felt. I glanced around the club as I saw him step in. He had a grumpy look on his face, and I could tell from the way he scowled at the girls who rushed towards him that I had interrupted his evening. Xavier is in one of the loudest nightclubs in town, drinking and looking heartbroken. "What gives?" he smiled, squeezing my shoulder. I shrugged his hands off and poured a glass for him. "It's good to see you too, Luis." He grinned, adjusting his leather jacket. "Yeah, I have been busy dealing with the pack activities. What are you doing here?" "Having a night out with my favorite gamma." "That's not the answer. You're supposed to be with Aurora and the kids. They are still babies and they need you as a father." I scoffed, remembering how I had felt with Aurora. I don't want to be around them when Aurora is in the room. "Why? Did something happen between you and her?" He raised his eyebrow, concerned. "Nothing. I hate how I feel when she's with me. I can't control myself, Louis." I gritted, glaring at the glass. "She's rubbing off on me in a way I don't like." "Oh, I thought you and her had reached a level of understanding and control." "She has, but not me. I don't think I want her anymore. I want her out of the pack." He whistled and adjusted his seat. "I don't think it is a wise decision. What about the kids?" "We have a nanny and I can cope with the kids without her," I said, stubbornly. "It's going to be hard, Xavier. Why not try and channel your thoughts to the kids and not her?" I laughed, not believing him. "She's everywhere. How am I going to achieve that?" "Block everything you feel about her and focus on the kids. Learn to control yourself when you're in the same room with her. Show a lot of indifference continuously, and trust me, you will be better in no time." "I will try it, and if I can't control myself around her, she is going to leave." He shrugged, filling his glass. "All right, let's drink." It was going to be hard seeing Aurora leave, but my mind was made up. I needed my focus and control, but she was distracting me badly, and it wasn't good for me. Xavier's POV. "Easy on your feet, Xavier. I told you to reduce the bottles, but you didn't listen." Louis grumbled as he led me into the quarters. The alcohol was nice, and I couldn't say no to it. I slurred as Louis adjusted my hand around his shoulder. "Are we home? Where's everyone?" "They're asleep, and you have to keep your voice down or you're going to wake everyone." I hiccuped as I glanced around. The house was empty except for the occasional sounds of the fans. "I need more bottles. Can we go to the kitchen? I have a wine collection in one of the cabinets." He held me as I began to turn. "You don't need more bottles, but your bed and a glass of water." "I am not interested, Luis," I yelled, stamping my feet. "Let me go right now. I order you." "No, I am taking you to your room. Stop acting like a kid." "Okay, fine. You can go. I would find my way there. I'm a bit sober." "You're drunken?" He paused as the sound of approaching feet interrupted him. I followed his gaze as he let out a sigh. "Aurora, I'm sorry. Did we wake you?" She moved closer, glancing at me and Louis. "Is everything okay?" There was a hint of panic in her voice as she closed the distance between us. Her scent filled the air and it felt suffocating. "Louis, just go home. I will be fine." "All right. Good night, Aurora," he replied, turning away. I waited until he shut the door and glanced at her. "Why aren't you sleeping?" She held my face. Her eyes were teary already. "You're drunk. Why?" I pushed her hand off and staggered to the foot of the stairs. "Is it a sin to have some bottles of alcohol?" "Huh." Guiltless, Aurora? That's not what I mean, Xavier. I was just worried about you. Don't be worried about me. You are a surrogate mother and not my wife. I lashed at her. She flinched, looking confused. I am sorry. I didn't mean to offend you. Oh, don't play that card. You know exactly what you are doing. I laughed sarcastically. You always rub yourself on me so that it's only you I should think of. I can't even concentrate in the office. It's you everywhere. Meetings, my dreams, conversations. Why can't I get you out of my head? I don't know what to say. I didn't mean for. Shut it, Aurora, I yelled, moving towards her as she took some steps back. Her heart was racing fast. I could hear it and feel her fear. She was frightened. You were meant to be a surrogate mother and nothing more. Why are you pushing me? What do you hope to gain? I am sorry. I will try not to affect you in anywhere that complicates our relationship. I sneered, taking a step. That's what you say, and the next day you will be in my fucking head, distracting me and making me lose control of my feelings. I don't want to be around you. You're nothing to me but a girl who I don't love. Don't say that to me. You're hurting me with those words, please. Her voice broke. I would say whatever I want to you. My legs shook and I lost balance, but Aurora was quick to catch me. Leave me. I can take care of myself. I don't want you. She ignored me and led me to my bedroom. Hold still, let me open the door. I grunted as she led me to the bed, removed my shoes, socks, and clothes until I was left with my briefs. Where are you going? Her eyes were red. She had been crying, but I hadn't noticed. I felt remorse instantly. Away from here. You said you don't want me here. I rose and led her to the bed. Sit. I know I said those words, and I mean it. She let out a strangled breath. Fine, I will get out of your space. I'm just a surrogate mother, like you said. I don't deserve to be here. That's not what I mean. I sighed, running my fingers through my already ruffled hair. I don't want you here, but a part of me still needs you. I can't explain it. It's hard when I'm not with you, and so difficult when you are with me. I can't breathe. I understand, and I'm sorry. I would give you the space you need henceforth. She sniffed, staring at her hands. I reached out, but she moved away. Aurora, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hurt you. Maybe I should just leave. It feels like my presence is making you uncomfortable. I hiccuped, blinking again. The alcohol effect was already taking control of me. I groaned, stretching my legs. You don't need to leave. If you do, I don't know how. I paused as she rose. I will give you your distance, Xavier. Let's not push things anymore. I'm just a surrogate mother, so let me remain that. I dragged her, but she fought hard. You're so feisty. Easy. She tried fighting off my grip, but I rose and hugged her. Let me go. You don't want me here, so leave me. Aurora, you're hitting me. I let a pained sigh as she continued to my chest. You said I make you feel distracted and you don't want me anymore. She sniffed, shuddering in my arms. I led her to the bed as I kissed her hair. Let's sleep together tonight, please. I don't want to fight anymore. Did you mean what you said about me? She asked as she lay beside me, snuggling closer. Her voice was laden with sadness, but her eyes glowed in the darkness. Hush, Aurora. It's been a long day and I reek so bad of alcohol. She giggled, sniffing. Remember the day I got drunk? You were so mad. I feared you were going to throw me out that night. I hiccuped again, slurring a bit. That day, you were carrying the twins, and I was frightened. She didn't respond, though. I glanced at her and smiled. She had fallen asleep, her features looking warm and alluring, Xavier's POV. The sounds of the maid's laughter outside the room woke me up. I groaned, holding my head and turned, but Aurora wasn't beside me. The bangs in my head made me shudder, but I pushed myself out of the body and picked up a bottle of water from the bedside table. I found some aspirin in the bathroom and used it. The bangs reduced a bit, and I quickly got into the bathtub, and soon I was out of the room, ready for work. The nanny was in the kitchen when I walked in, but not Aurora. I feared the worst as I glanced around. Where's the Luna? The nanny smiled, greeting me. Good morning, sir. She's at the cafe. She left a few minutes ago. Oh, great. I muttered as I grabbed the breakfast the chef left for me, and as I drove out, my mind strayed to Aurora. I didn't even know when she woke up and left. I should stay off alcohol for the rest of the month and probably the year. The secretary smiled as soon as I walked into the office. The project team sent in the files earlier this morning. They need your review before the end of the day. There's some calls you need to make to our clients, too. I sighed, rubbing my forehead. I was still feeling the aftermath of the hangover. Get me some aspirin and a bottle of water, please. She nodded and was out of the office. I logged into my computer, checked my emails, and replied to the necessary ones. I reviewed the files that the project team sent and groaned. Why did everyone always do the opposite of what I wanted? The secretary walked in, dropping the water and aspirin. Do you need anything else? Tell the project team to review the trash they sent to me and send it before the close of the day, and inform the guards not to let anyone in except they check in with me. All right, sir. The clients? Should I give a call to them, or will you? I will do that. You can go, and thank you for the water. I threw the aspirins into my mouth and drank half a bottle of water as she left. From the tasks she dropped, I had a lot of work activities to catch up with. I also needed to check up with Collins and know the update on the search. Aurora. Her face kept creeping into my mind as I typed angrily on my laptop. I groaned, walked around the room, increased the air conditioning, and returned to work. After an hour of scowling and being unable to achieve anything with my time, I closed my laptop and switched off the computer as well. Luis, are you around? I asked as soon as he picked up my call. He groaned, sounding bored. I'm in your company where you employed me, remember? Gamma in the pack, director here. I laughed, despite myself. I forgot for a second. Come over to my office. I need you. Give me a minute. I need to round up my briefing with my team and show them some. I cut him with a grunt. Okay, I know you're busy, but I need to discuss something important with you, I said, cutting the call without waiting for his reply. I knew that little act would make him show up in a few seconds. He hated being cut off. I needed to talk about what happened with Aurora and how I could seek her forgiveness. She wasn't picking my calls nor replying to my messages, but from the updates my guard at the cafe sent, she was with her phone and not busy with customers. She was just not interested in talking with me. The sound of Louis's voice interrupted my reverie. I shot out of my chair, glanced at my expression, and hated what I saw. My eyes were a bit swollen, my hair was ruffled, and my face screamed that something was wrong with me. Xavier, I got your call. What's wrong? Louis said as he stepped into the office, closing the door behind me. I sighed, settling on the long couch and patting it. Take the weight off your legs and sit down. It's Aurora. She left the house without taking the babies with her or even informing me about where she was going. She always tells me, but not today. Oh. His voice fell as he glanced at me, worried. Did something happen last night after I left? I messed up so bad, Louis. I said a lot of hurtful words to her. I can't remember everything, but I apologized, but I think it wasn't good enough for her. What did you say to her? I felt ashamed as I told everything I remembered. We laughed a bit after that, but I think she just tried to make me not worry about her. I think I have lost her. He shook his head, rubbing his palms. No, I don't think so. I think you need to earn her forgiveness and make her realize that you didn't mean what you said. My shoulders sagged. Aurora wasn't the kind of lady who could buy her forgiveness, and she took words to her heart. She wouldn't listen to anything I say. I know her. Okay, what do you intend to do now? I paused, thinking, and I smiled suddenly. I think I will buy her a gift and her favorite perfume bottles. Then I will also write her an apology note. You can help out, too. He rose, shaking his head. No, I am not helping out with the gift. It defeats the purpose of your intention. This is supposed to be from you and not me, all right? Fine. I huffed, rising. I will deal with the gift myself. Thank you. He bowed slightly and changed the topic of conversation, touching on the pack's activities and the progress he had made so far with checking up on most of the older pack members. Getting the perfect gift for Aurora was a tough one, but with the help of the sales attendant and what I knew about her, I got a diamond necklace, a wristwatch that had the letter J, a reminder of the twins' names, and a gold bracelet that had jewels around it. I also got her favorite perfumes and took time to craft the best note for her. I strolled into the house with bold confidence in the gifts. Where's Aurora? She's not in the kitchen nor the living room. The maid replied, She ate a late lunch and returned to her room, sir. Would you like to eat now? I waved her off. No, but thank you. I was surprised, though. Aurora would rather play with the kids until dinner time than have an afternoon siesta. The fact that she didn't pick my calls all day was more reason to make me believe that she was angry with me. I sighed and walked towards her door, knocking gently. "Aurora, please open up. We need to talk." "I don't want to speak with you. If you need something, ask the maids or guards," she yelled. "Please, I have to talk with you, and there's something I need to give you." I knocked again. I heard footsteps and she opened, flashing a glare at me. "What do you want?" "I need to sleep, and you're disturbing me." "I want to give you this and apologize about last night," I replied, handing her the gift. "I don't want it. Enjoy the rest of your day." She shut the door before I could say a word. I sighed and dropped the gift in front of the door and walked away, feeling dejected. Aurora's POV. I wrapped my hair in a bun and smiled at my outfit for the last time, loving what I saw. Bright yellow denim skirt with a white blouse tucked in was exactly what I needed to uplift my mood. After what happened with Xavier, I was doing my best to avoid being in the same space with him, except if it was necessary. I didn't mind his words, but the way he had looked at me that night, I could never erase the memory from my head. I sighed as I pulled the door open, and a gasp escaped my lips. There was a gift box and a bag with a card seeping from it. I glanced around before picking it, and my lips curved into a small smile as I opened the bag and saw my favorite perfumes. The card read Xavier. I laughed. He had left it here last night after I shut the door in his face. I felt a little sorry for what I had done, but I needed him to feel the pain I carried in me. I knew I could hurt him except through my silence at him, and obviously it worked. I checked the gift box and let out a cry of joy. A bracelet, wristwatch, and necklace with the baby's initials. He did know more about me than I gave him credit for. I dropped them in my room and took a last glance at them before shutting the door. He had warmed my heart with these little things, and I had to show a bit of gratitude. He dragged that much. He was at the table eating breakfast when I walked in. He looked surprised but smiled quickly as I drew a chair and settled near him. "Good morning. Hope you slept well?" he asked politely. I nodded, smiling at the maid as she filled my plate with slices of bread and egg. "Yes, I did. Thank you for the gift items. They were thoughtful selections." "You like them?" His eyes glowed in a childlike manner. "Yeah, they were something I would purchase if I stepped out. I didn't know you were quite observant." "I'm always observant about everything that concerns you, Aurora." He cleared his throat and continued. "The gift box was an apology, but I feel my words would do more than the items." "I'm listening." He swallowed. He always seemed nervous around me when he had to apologize, like he felt he was going to say the wrong word and offend me. I held his hands and rubbed them softly. "It's all right, Xavier. I won't pick offense with anything you say." "Okay, I just feel I always say the wrong words and mess things up just like that night. I'm sorry, Aurora, for every hurtful word I said. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean any of it. I promise you." I smiled as my cheeks burned. "It's okay. I forgive you. I didn't even take any of the words to heart." "You didn't pick my calls, and you shut the door at my face." He raised a brow and sighed. "You were angry at me, Aurora." I shook my head, kissing his hands. I was at that point, but I thought over it and felt it wasn't worth holding a grudge. Also, look at you. You seem to have aged within 2 days. He burst into laughter. "That's how much you affect me. I have been overthinking everything. It's all right, but I'm still your surrogate mother, and that's all I will always be to you." His facial expression changed. "I didn't mean that either. You don't love me, or do you? Aurora, don't put me in a spot." I rose, feeling annoyed. "That's it. I will always be the baby mama and nothing more, so let's not complicate things further." "That's not what I meant. Let's talk, please." "I don't have that time. I need to be in the cafe in 20 minutes. I replied, grabbing my handbag. He rose, his eyes were tired. "Can I drop you? We could talk in the car." "I'm not interested. I can drive myself, or the driver will." "Aurora, I'm sorry." He held my hand as I took a step. "I have to leave. Take care." I replied with a harsh voice, ignoring the hurt in his eyes. If he couldn't decide at the spot if he loved me or not, then it was certain about how he felt about me. A surrogate mother who didn't deserve any of his affection. I was fine living with the hurtful truth, and I didn't want him adding to it with his apologies. The cafe was filled with customers when I strode in. The waitresses greeted me as I passed them by, and a few familiar faces nodded at me. Julia was talking to a customer as I walked into my office. She raised a brow, but I flashed a smile, not wanting to read meaning into her expression. I fell into the chair as Julia walked in, worried. She moved slowly towards me, but I ignored her and tapped on my phone. "You don't look happy." "What happened?" "Nothing happened. The traffic was long and there was a rude man who refused to apologize for jumping his lane." She laughed, gazing at me. "No, I'm not buying that. Did you and Xavier fight? Did he say something hurtful to you?" I shook my head, still staring at my phone. "He didn't. We're good." "Why do you even think we fought?" "Because I know you and him. Whenever there's an issue, you carry that murder look on your face." I laughed, cocking my head. "The murder looks is for the driver, and not for Xavier. We're good, all right? So nothing happened last night between you and him? No fight or quarrel this morning, too?" "Oh, Julia, I already told you we are good, or do you want us to argue about it?" She raised her hands in defeat, smiling. "Okay, I believe you." I heard a hint of sarcasm and raised a brow. "You don't believe me, do you?" "I do. It's your personal business, not mine, anyway." She walked towards the door, smiling. "The cafe is full, so please, try and help before chaos happens." I nodded, returning to my phone as she stepped out. I didn't want her interfering with Xavier and my issues because of her relationship with him. She was my best friend, but sometimes I couldn't bring myself to tell her about everything that happened with Xavier. She mightn't take his side, but she had a thing for judging me bluntly, and I hated it. The door flung open, which made me jump. "Julia, what was that for?" I yelled as she walked in with a flower bouquet and a chocolate box. "Xavier sent this with an apology. I thought things were good." I rose and grabbed it from her as she giggled. "He says sorry whenever his delivery runs late, and besides, it's just flowers." "Oh, right, but you're blushing already," she giggled, watching me. My cheeks burned as I read his note. It was an apology, and the flowers were a peace offering. They smelled so nice. "I'm not blushing. The cafe needs your attention, so please be gone." She shook her head and settled down. "He's a romantic man, Aurora, and the flowers are so cute. I get why you're blushing, honestly." I flashed a glare and dropped the flowers in a vase. "Yes, he is, but my cheeks are just red from sun exposure." "Really? You know I can tell when you're lying. That's your business." "I have to return to work, so do." My ringtone interrupted me, and Julia picked up the phone, laughing. "It's the alpha, lover girl. Should I tell him you have gotten the flowers and are already getting wet?" I grabbed the phone and laughed. "You're a naughty best friend, Julia." She smiled confidently. "I know that, and I'm happy to always fill your ears with sweet naughtiness." I glanced at the phone as it rang again. I was contemplating whether I should pick it or not. "He's waiting, honey. Pick the call, or I am going to help you." She rose, and I quickly rushed into the bathroom and shut the door. I loved Julia, but sometimes she could be a nuisance. "Hi, I am sorry I missed your call." I apologized as soon as he picked. "Hi." His deep voice filled the other end of the phone as he replied. "It's all right. I'm glad you picked. Did you get the flowers in the chocolate box?" I smiled, blushing. "Yes, I did. You're spoiling me badly lately. I keep messing up, hence the reason I have to spoil you." His tone hit me, low, emotional, and slow. "I'm sorry about this morning. I didn't mean to offend you." I massaged my brow and thought for a second. What if he didn't love me as I wanted? I was still respected and cherished by him, and it was plain to all that I affected him in peculiar ways. He couldn't even think straight when I left him in the dark. Maybe it wasn't love, but it was sufficient for me. The way he adored me. "I forgive you, Xavier, so how about dinner to start this week properly?" He replied enthusiastically. "I'm in. You can book the restaurant and details and share with me." "All right, I will see you at 7:00 p.m. Don't be late." "I won't. Thank you for giving me another chance." I smiled, listening to his breaths. "Don't mess it up, or you're going to have a hard time with me." "Pinky swear, Aurora." "I won't. Thank you." I giggled as we talked about work activities, and he shared with me about his row with the new beta. I fell silent a few times, content to just listen to him speak, and it did feel good, Xavier's POV. I slammed the boot and sighed as I looked at the remaining groceries I needed to put in the car. I should have just allowed the security guard to help with items, but I decided to the heavy lifting myself. My phone vibrated as I grabbed a bag of groceries. I sighed, dropping the bag into the car. As I was about to pick another, a shadow appeared in front of me. The scent felt familiar, but I wasn't sure. "Theodore?" I said, his eyes meeting mine as I stood upright. He nodded, smiling. "Yes, it is me. You don't seem surprised to see me." "I am not. How may I help you?" "Ouch, that's hurtful." He feigned a sigh, walking closer. "I have missed you, though. How have you been?" I shrugged, picking another bag of groceries. "What do you want?" "Oh, Testy. That's not a good way to welcome your ex who you haven't seen in a long while." He whistled as I kept quiet, and he continued talking. "I have been in town for a few months now, working. I just came to buy some fruits, and I saw you. You could have moved on, then on, instead of coming to meet me. I don't need your return into my life." "Easy, Aurora. I know we broke things on a sad note, but I have been working on my life, and I'm a changed person." He adjusted his suit and smiled. "If you give me a second chance, I promise, to make up for all my sins." I giggled, not believing him. "You were a cheat and a chronic liar, Theodore. No one changes from those traits. That was in the past. You and I are made for each other, and our wolves complement each other. If you give me a chance, I'm certain things would work out for us." "You must be joking or just sick in the head." "I'm not sick. You want me, and I know I can fulfill all your needs." You couldn't even take care of me while we were dating. I am sorry, but you're wasting your time." He flinched, his expression drawn. "I'm serious, please. I know you're married to the alpha and have kids for him, but it's been months and your wolf yearns for me. Give us a chance." He reached out to touch me, but I glared at him. "You expect me to leave the alpha for you?" "Yes, and be with me. I know I'm not as influential as him, but I will be a good father to the kids and husband to you." I laughed, shaking my head. "Unbelievable. Our wolves never even liked each other." "You were a piece of shit and always will be. Don't even feign ignorance on what you made me go through in our relationship." He bit his lower lip, gazing at me. "I apologize for everything I made you go through, and I promise to give you the princess treatment you have always wanted." "Princess treatment?" He nodded, smiling. "The alpha isn't being treated as you want, and I can take care of that problem." "Don't be ridiculous. Xavier is a lot better than you, and I can list a lot of his attributes that you can't measure up to." He scowled. "He's just an alpha, Aurora. Besides, I'm your mate, and your wolf knows it too." I laughed as my eyes roamed from his forehead, his suits, and back to his face. He had always been a handsome man, but his cheating ass and manipulative ways were what made him ugly. I could remember vividly the number of times he cheated and made excuses when I confronted him. It had been a toxic relationship, and I wasn't planning on returning to it, especially when Xavier was now in the picture. He might just be an alpha, but he's the one I'm mated to and not you. I suggest you find your mate before you end up as a lonely man. Please, don't just give up on us. I want to end up with you and the kids. We will be a happy couple, I know so." I clicked my tongue, shaking my head. "You're really persistent, ain't you?" "I have to win your heart back one way or the other, love. Alpha Xavier doesn't deserve you." "Is that so?" Xavier's voice interrupted us, making me shudder a bit. I didn't even hear him approach us nor sniff it, which was always strong in the air. Theodore's expression turned frightened as Xavier glared at him. "I am." "Is he disturbing you, babe?" Xavier cut him short, gazing at me affectionately. I was stunned. He had never called me babe before, and I loved the way the word rolled out of his lips. "Just a little, but I'm good." "Are you sure? I could. Take care of Mr. Nice Suits and Black Shoes." Xavier's lips curved in a mischievous grin. "No, you don't need to. I just want to go home and rest. It's been a long day," I said as he took my hands and kissed them. Xavier nodded, his fingers trailing my cheeks. "Are you done with the groceries?" I smiled, enjoying how Xavier ignored Theodore. A quick glance at him showed that he was trembling hard as Xavier threw him deadly glares. "Yes, it remains some groceries inside, though. I did a lot of shopping." I giggled, watching Theodore with a side eye. Xavier smiled and kissed me softly. I reciprocated, enjoying every moment. I had never known him as a show-off, but the way he gazed and attended to me just to show Theodore who was the alpha, it was thrilling. Okay, honey, I would ask the driver to pick them up and pay the bills. Aurora, you are leaving with him? Theodore asked, his voice strained. I gave him a brief look and laughed as Xavier's hand held my waist and led me to the car. He opened the car's door, kissed me for a moment, his hand held mine for a moment, and he nodded as I smiled and stepped in the passenger's seat while he took the driver's seat. I threw backwards glance, and Theodore's shocked expression made me giggle as Xavier drove off. Xavier's POV. Hurry up, Aurora, we are running late, please. I yelled as I glanced at my wristwatch. I hated showing up late at events, especially a get-together that I was part of the special guests list. I glanced at the stairway, determined to walk into Aurora's room if she didn't show up in 5 minutes. Come on, how long is it going to take you to put on your gown? She yelled a response. I'm done. Give me a minute. I huffed, tapping my feet. That's what you said a few minutes ago, and you've spent almost an hour there. I heard her giggle and a door closed, but no signs of her or the maiden helping her with her outfit. She was going to make me late, and I would have to apologize to the host, something I hated doing. I'm here. I'm sorry for keeping you waiting. The zipper got stuck and... She stopped at the top of the stairway and smiled. What do you think? Beautiful or too much? I whistled, unable to stop myself. She wore a black, low-cut gown which revealed her neck adorned with the necklace I bought for her. You look stunning. She blushed as she walked slowly. Thank you. The necklace is well fitted too. I'm glad you love it. Shall we? I held out my hand and she took it, laughing. What's so funny? Nothing. I'm just surprised you're not in a hurry anymore. I scoffed, leading her out of the room. If only she knew how her closeness could change my facial expression and make me feel at peace. My phone vibrated as I scoffed at the traffic. It was Friday. How could there be a lot of vehicles at this time of the day? It was barely noon. Is everything okay? You look like you're about to murder someone, Aurora said, breaking the silence between us. We hadn't said much since we left the house because I was busy responding to all her questions with grunts. Yeah, but I will murder someone if we miss the event. I can't believe there's traffic by this time. She laughed, glancing at me. I'm sure we will be there before the event closes. Besides, you never stay to the end, so what's the hurry? I scoffed, glaring at my phone as the host called again. I declined the call and sent a text. Networking and loyalty. You won't understand because you aren't the alpha. Oh, right. If you had been a bit quick, maybe we wouldn't be stuck in traffic. She laughed. I was just 5 minutes late, Xavier. No, you weren't. You kept me waiting for about an hour, so don't blame me. I explained, she sighed, looking outside. We are moving already, so it doesn't matter. It matters. You should learn to be time-conscious and not make me wait. I hate it. I muttered. All right, I would try to be on time, but not with events that involve you. What do you mean by that? She flashed a scowl at me. I'm not attending events with you anymore. You can go with someone else who enjoys your company. I glanced at her, surprised. You're my Luna, and that makes you the only person who's expected to attend functions with me. I'm not interested anymore. It's not like I intended us to come late, you know? I began to speak. Aurora, I didn't, but a car bumped into us, making me stop. What the heck was that? The driver glanced at the side mirror. A car bumped into us, but I am certain it's nothing. That didn't sound like nothing. The car is still coming after us. Move to the other lane, and I am going to give the fool a warning. As the driver tried to enter between two cars, Aurora yelled, sliding in front of me as a car bumped into my door. The driver lost control and the vehicle swirled, making a screeching sound while Aurora hit the driver's seat, and my head bumped on the window screen. Call the ambulance, right now! She's not breathing! I yelled as I held Aurora's head on my lap. The accident had happened so fast, causing some other vehicles to hit each other. But luckily for them, there was no serious accident except from us. Aurora, please stay with me. Don't leave me yet, I whispered as the sound of the ambulance blared. The driver lifted me off my feet as the paramedics placed Aurora on a stretcher and led her into the bus. They placed an oxygen mask, but she was still unconscious, and I wanted to rush after them, take her home, and do everything I could to revive her. But I knew it was going to be a big mistake because she was in better hands than mine. I arrived at the hospital, angry at myself. The nurses tried to pacify me, but I kept pacing, hoping for the best news. According to them, she was in the emergency room and the doctors were operating on her. It wasn't serious, but she wasn't breathing when I left her, and she's in the ER. How's that not serious? I glared at the nurse who was filling me on Aurora's progress. She smiled, ignoring my rudeness. We ran some tests and noticed internal bleeding. That's why we are doing a surgery. If you just relax a bit, I can fill you in on the remaining details. I just want to see her alive. I don't care about the details. Okay, but you have to stop pacing around. It's not helping you. I shot her a glare. Don't tell me how to worry about her. She muttered an apology. I'm sorry. The doctor will be out in an hour, so please hold on. I huffed, returning to my seat while thinking of what Aurora did for me. She had saved my life by shielding me with her body, and now she was probably fighting for her life because of me. I should have stopped her and been the one who protected her, and I failed. I clenched my fists and rose, pacing angrily. If she didn't survive the surgery, my heart constricted, making me breathe harder. She had to survive this. Xavier? I looked up. The doctor, a short, gray-haired man, smiled at me. Yes, what's the news? The surgery was successful and she's resting. Oh, thank goodness. I let out a sigh of relief. Can I see her? Yes, you can, but she needs to rest properly, all right? So go easy. The doctor's words stayed with me as I stepped into Aurora's room. She was awake and was watching a television show. She didn't look like someone had just survived an accident, but the bandage around her head, plasters on her face, and I was certain there were bandages around her stomach revealed more. Aurora, are you okay? She smiled and nodded. She didn't seem surprised to see me. Yes, the surgery wasn't as painful as I thought, and the doctor was nice. I grunted. You shouldn't have tried to protect me. It was my duty, not yours. What? I don't understand. Her forehead creased in confusion. I mean, you shouldn't have shielded me. The car bump was meant for me and not you. You could have died, I yelled, making her tilt her head. But you didn't, and I'm fine. You could have died, and who's going to take care of the kids? Didn't you think about that? I didn't die, though. The surgery was successful, and I'm here, right now, alive. Can't you be happy for that? I sighed, moving closer to her. She was right, though. I should be grateful she survived, but I couldn't take off the dread feeling that still hangs around me. I don't know how I will live without you. I guess that's what made me angry. If you had died, I wouldn't be able to live with myself. She nodded, as a tear dropped. I know, but I wanted to protect you, and I'm glad I didn't think twice about it. Would you do it again? I asked, before stopping myself. Of course, you wouldn't hesitate to help me if I needed you, would you? Never. But don't try it next time. It's an order. I know you want to protect me, but it's my duty, and I wouldn't allow you to risk your life for me again. She sighed, falling onto her pillow. All right, Alpha, but I assure you that I am good. Please, I need you to see that, so you won't blame yourself for anything that happened today. Took her hands and kissed them lightly. Yes, I see you are good, but don't worry about me or the blame. Just focus on recovering, and you can return home to the kids. You mentioned something about the kids earlier. She gazed at me and sniffed. If I had died, I know they would be safe in your hands. No, it's you and me. No more pulling stunts like today, all right? She huffed, folding her hands. Okay. When do I get out of here? I miss home already. I smiled a little as I filled her in on the details of her surgery and when she would be cleared to go. She seemed attentive, but from the dullness of her eyes, I could tell she was a bit frightened, and I took her hands and squeezed them for a short while. She felt tense but relaxed as I leaned and kissed her lightly. Xavier's POV. I paused as I noticed Aurora's door slightly open. I had shut the door before I left with the doctor, and no one was supposed to be in here except the nurses. I heard shuffling of feet, and I pushed the door open. A nurse was standing beside the drip, frightened. I glanced at her, the drip and Aurora, trying to understand what was going on. Is something wrong? I asked, as she trembled. She looked pale, and her lips quivered. Her behavior felt strange. She shook her head, stuttering. No, you scared me, that's all. I was just checking her vitals. Okay, is she good? Do you need the doctor? Yes, no, I mean, she's all right. I'm just making my final rounds for today. You don't sound good, though. Is everything okay? I peered closely at her. She moved towards the door, nodding. Yes, I am. I have just been on my feet all day. You know how it is? I smiled small, suspicious of her. I don't. Are you sure everything is okay? You're sweating profusely and look like you just saw a ghost. She waved it off with a nervous laugh. I'm good. I have to leave now. Take care of her. What about the... I paused as she left the room in a flash. Oh, that was strange. I touched Aurora's forehead. She was asleep, but her beautiful face was still glowing. The drip was half, but something made me look at it again. It was a transparent color when I left the room, but it was blue now. I watched as it flowed into Aurora, and panic gripped me. I slowly removed the drip, but my trembling hands kept doing the wrong thing. Aurora moaned as I tried to remove the tub from her wrist. I tried again with a little force, and she opened her eyes, flashing a pained look at me. What are you doing? She mumbled, sitting up as I removed the bag of drip. A nurse came in and messed up with your drip. What? Did you see her? I nodded as I stared at the content. My hands were still shaking. Yes, I thought the doctor sent her, but she was behaving weirdly. I should have suspected some sort of foul play. She reached out to my hand and smiled. You saved me again. That's what is important. I'm not sure, I replied, trying to put the drip back. Some of the content might have flowed into your body. I don't know how long she was here. There's a knock on the door, and the doctor paused at the door, glancing at me. Then Aurora. Why did you remove the drip? I scoffed, dropping it on the table. One of your nurses tampered with the drip. I caught her. What? Did you see the nurse? Of course, I did, but she left before I could ask more questions. He picked the drip and studied the content. I need to run some tests to know what she placed in the drip. Also, you need to run some tests on Aurora. I suspect some of the liquid got into her. I hope she doesn't run into any complications. He studied at Aurora for a minute. I will run some blood tests and keep her monitored. Let me call the nurses. Okay, I will be right back, I replied, leaving the room as the doctor questioned Aurora. I needed to find the nurse and have a one-on-one conversation with her. She had been sent by someone, and I needed all the details. I jumped into the elevator before it closed. There were a few people in there, but none of them was the nurse. The elevator pinged, and I rushed out, sniffing the air, but I couldn't trace her. I walked towards the reception, and I was just in time to see the nurse talking to the guard. As soon as she saw me, she rushed out, ignoring my yells. As I rushed outside, but I couldn't find her for a few minutes. There were people everywhere, and the roads were filled with cars. Hey, stop! I need to talk with you, I yelled as she crossed to the outside of the road. A Camry was moving fast as she threw a backward glance, and before I could tell, the Camry hit her and was thrown off the road. There were a lot of shouts as some people rushed towards her, but the Camry didn't wait. That's when it occurred to me that it wasn't an accident, but whoever sent her was trying to clear his or her evidence. I returned to the hospital and met with the guard whom I had found talking with her. Hello, the nurse you were speaking with. Who was she? The guard looked confused, but he replied, An intern. She just started working here. I don't know her much. I contemplated telling him about the accident, but stopped myself. The cops would do the job better than me would. What about a name? Do you know it? I'm not sure. We barely speak except today when she talked about the weather and her shift. Oh, all right, thank you. Is everything okay? You rushed after her when she took off, I replied, nodding. Oh, that was nothing. She mistook me for someone else. Okay, you can reach out to the doctors. They would have more information about her than I. Yes, smart ass, I muttered beneath my breath as I took the stairway to Aurora's room. She was talking with the doctor when I walked in. Xavier, you're back. You left without informing me about where you were going. I had to check up on the nurse. Do you have cameras here, in the hallways? I asked, glancing at the doctor. He nodded as he wrote on his notepad. We have in the hallways, but not in the rooms, to give our patients some sense of privacy. The security team and I would check the cameras, and I would let you know what we find. I wasn't satisfied, but it was a big step. All right, one more thing. I will be sending 2 of my men to guard the door. I don't trust your security. It's bleak. Xavier, Aurora protested, but I shot her a look. She didn't know how far I would go to protect her. You need to be protected, Aurora, and it's obvious they can't, right, Doc? I glared at him. He swallowed, looking uncomfortable. I would check with the lab to run the tests, and I will be back with the results. What about the guards? You can bring them in, Alpha, he replied, smiling at Aurora. If you feel different or uncomfortable, don't hesitate to press the button or inform the Alpha. Of course, she won't. Thank you, Doc, I replied, watching him as he turned away. I wondered what would have happened if I hadn't come in sooner. He paused in his steps and replied, We wouldn't allow anything to happen to her until she's discharged. I scoffed, glancing at Aurora, who had fallen asleep. Her breaths were heavy, and she had a smile on her face as I leaned to kiss her lightly. I hope it doesn't, Doc. Xavier's POV. I grunted as Louis settled opposite me and helped himself to a glass of wine. Then he filled his plate with crackers from the tray and proceeded to eat them. You didn't eat from home? I asked, interrupting him. He chewed loudly, smiling. No, you called me quite early. My wife had barely started cooking, and you can't be kept waiting, so I had to leave her and rush over. Okay, Aurora is home, but I feel she's still in danger. Why? She should be safe in the house with the kids, or are you suspecting that someone is in here? I had thought about this too, but the staff wouldn't dare risk their lives to betray me. Beta Darren was a lesson to all of them, and they knew what I was capable of doing to betrayers. The staff don't have the resources and connections to hurt Aurora. It's someone outside the borders of this pack. They're trying to destroy me by killing her, and the sooner we figure out who's behind the attacks, the safer she and the kids will be. Do you have any leads? I scoffed. I don't. The nurse at the hospital was a dead end, an intern who's not from this city. Her parents are late and she was on a government scholarship. Did the cops check her phone and bag? They didn't find any incriminating evidence on her phone or her bag. It seemed she barely had friends, and the department she worked in said she kept to herself. She was the perfect person for the job, and whoever is behind knew you would check every detail, hence the reason they picked her. You sound like you admire the suspect, I noted, watching him closely. He chuckled, pushing the empty plate forward. That's what you think, Alpha. So, what do you think we can do? The Beta has yet to give me a detailed report about the car crash. It's been a fruitless search, but he's trying his best. You're not satisfied with his best. That's why you called me, right? Yes, smart man. I don't know what I can do to keep Aurora safe. She's the main target, and I need to remove the mark off her back. Oh no. He shook his head, looking weird at me. Don't tell me you're serious about her being the main target. Those accidents happened because you were with her. It might be you. They injected her drip and I wasn't with her. I protested. Still, she mightn't be the main target. Do you intend to lock her in here to keep her safe? That has crossed my mind several times, but she wouldn't agree to it. She has the cafe and Julia. She also loves not to be told what to do. He laughed as I shot him a glare. Sometimes I feel I tell you a lot for a gamma and it's not healthy. He winked at me as his lips curved in a satisfied smile. I am also one of your closest friends and the only one who offers the best advice. Right, so what do you think about Aurora? I can't lock her in and she wouldn't allow my men to stick around the cafe or even follow her to the shopping mall. He hummed for some minutes and replied, Have you spoken to her about the current situation? What did she say? I sighed as I remembered the conversation I had with Aurora after she returned from the hospital. She felt the accidents weren't related and wanted me to drop anything that would make her feel like she was being watched. I was an alpha, and it wasn't a new thing that I had enemies, so she was going to have to learn to live with that fact. She wouldn't allow me to protect her. She prefers I just let things be, and if there's a situation she can't handle, she would let me know. I guess we will have to find the suspect then. I will check out with my sources and work with the Beta, but you have to be careful, Xavier. They might move to the kids if they can't get Aurora. I gritted my teeth. They wouldn't dare touch the kids. How could they? If they could attack Aurora, I wouldn't be surprised. The rush of heavy footsteps made us look at the entrance of the door. A guard walked in, breathing hard. He was frightened and his lips trembled as he tried to steady his breath. What happened? Louis demanded, glaring at him. The border it's under attack. We lost a few men already. They showed up suddenly without any warning. I sprang to my feet, clenching my fists. Where's the beta? He's coming. We need more hands to prevent them from entering the pack. Louis, get more men and I will meet you guys at the border. They mustn't defeat us, all right? I will suggest we wait for Collins and we can leave together. What about Aurora and the kids? They will be safe here. Let me inform her about the situation. I replied as I turned to the stairway, but I paused, thinking, what if this was a ploy to make me leave the house and they could take Aurora and the kids? Louis, hold on, I called, returning to the room. Maybe you and Collins should go to the border, and I will take Aurora and the kids out of the house. I don't feel it's safe to leave them here. He nodded slowly. It's a good idea. All right, take them, and I will keep you updated. Aurora was reluctant at first, but I was able to convince her that we needed to leave if she wanted to stay alive. I took them to one of the safe houses outside the pack borders. The place was hidden from enemies, and only a trusted few in the pack knew about the safe house. Are you sure we will be safe here? I nodded as I helped make a makeshift bed for the babies. The safe house was a small place, but it was comfortable, and there was light, water, and a pile of firewood to keep the chimney working. We will be... Only Louis and some men know this place. Besides, we will return to the house once I get a report from the beta. Thank you, Xavier. Ever since I came into your life, it's been one trouble or the other, but you are still with me. I smiled, walking towards her as she dropped the bedsheet she was folding. This is my job, and I'm happy doing it. My phone rang, stopping her from speaking. Louis, what's the situation report? He let out a harsh breath. They got to the house, burnt every part. We tried to save some part, but the main building is gone. I gripped the phone tightly. Those idiots, I swore, walking into the kitchen and closing the door. I didn't want Aurora to listen to the conversation and be more frightened. Did we lose anyone in the house? 2 maids. They were still packing when the house was set on fire. Oh, goodness, my voice cracked as I blinked. Did anyone see anything that can help us trace who did it? Nobody, Xavier. I'm sorry. I huffed, breathing hard. Keep me updated then. Aurora and the kids will stay here until things return to normal. All right, take care, Alpha, he replied, cutting the call. I glanced at the phone for a few minutes and ran my fingers through my hair. I needed to figure out a way to avoid the attacks from escalating and protect Aurora and the twins at all cost. Xavier's POV. Aurora, we need to talk about everything that is going on, I said, settling beside her. We had just eaten dinner and she was playing with Jay. Can't it wait till morning? I'm about to put them to sleep and I'm exhausted. It's important and it can't till morning. The house was razed to the ground. Not the entire part, though. I replied carefully as her jaw dropped. Louis and Collins are in the pack putting things in order, and I promise to be back tomorrow morning. Did we lose anyone in the fire? Yes, we did. It happened so quickly, and those who survived were the ones who left after I gave the order for everyone to exit the building. Oh my God, she exclaimed, dropping Jay in his crib. Did anyone see who started the attack? We've prisoners, but the beta is holding on until I return to the pack and we can question them. She nodded slowly. I don't like this, Xavier. The attacks are getting too much. They might come after the kids. I cut her short. No, they won't, and that's why you need to cooperate with me. I need to know when my men are posted to protect you. You don't argue. I don't need your men to protect me or the kids. I will be fine, she protested. Come on, Aurora, this is serious. You saw how we left the pack. I don't want to always run when we're under attack, and we can take care of the situation if you will just accept my help. I have already accepted your help, but this isn't one of them. I do not agree to be followed like a puppy, she snapped, making me tilt my head in surprise. It's an order, and you have no other choice than to follow it. I disagree. I can ignore it and order your men not to do what you say, she said, but not with full confidence. I rubbed my forehead, tired of the back and forth, thought, I don't want to argue on this matter with you anymore. My decision is final. The attacks aren't as serious as you make them feel so. So, you think the incident at the hospital was an error by the hospital? I scoffed, rising. What about that night when you almost died? They almost got away with your kidnapping. They didn't because I took care of myself. Why are we still arguing about this? The men would be at the cafe every day. They would escort you home, shopping mall, and wherever you need to go. I don't want them. Being the Luna already brings attention. She folded her hands and relaxed in the chair. It's final. You're the main target, and they have proved it thrice now. I can't risk your life because of your stubbornness. I'm not being stubborn. I'm just trying to make you see that I can take care of myself. I know you can, but you have to trust me on this one. All right? She sighed as I moved closer to her. Just tell your men not to stay idle. They shouldn't make it feel like I'm being watched. I smiled, drawing her into a hug. Of course, you wouldn't even notice they are there. She rose and gave me a full hug. I still don't think the attacks are as serious as you make them. It is. Whoever is behind the attack isn't giving up anytime soon, so we need to be careful. She tilted her head as I released. Her eyes widened. Did you hear a sound? I think my phone is ringing. I listened, and the low vibration came from the other room. You have a sharp hearing, Aurora. She laughed as I followed her into the kitchen, where the sound came from. Don't blame me. I learnt it from the best. Who's calling? Oh, it's Louis. I think he must have been trying to reach you. She muttered as she picked up the call. Hi, is something wrong? Oh, he's right here. She handed me her phone and whispered. He's been trying to reach you, but your line has been unavailable. Oh, that's because I switched it off, I replied as she flashed a glare at me. Louis, what's the update now? It's Aurora's mom. She was poisoned. We had to rush her to the hospital. You have to come. I glanced at Aurora, who was busy staring at her nails. She was going to be heartbroken when I delivered the news. We will be there. Call me if anything changes. I cut the call and broke the news. She is in surgery now, and we need to check up on her. She trembled, tears falling. I hope she will be fine. She has a weak heart, Xavier. Come here. I know she does, but she's a strong woman, and she will come out fine. She pressed her head against my chest and sniffed. Can we go now? I will bring the twins. I shook my head. She was in no condition to be in charge of the kids. Go sit in the car, and I will bring them. We are going to get through this, all right? The drive to the hospital was one of the longest drives of my life. Aurora tried to control herself as she played with the children. I knew her heart wasn't there because she kept stuttering, but she didn't cry. Several times I wanted to say a word to comfort her, but I stopped myself. She didn't need me to feel sorry for her. Besides, it would feel like I was mourning her mother after all the encouraging words. Louis saw us before we did and waved as we entered the reception hall. I'm glad you guys are here. Aurora sniffed, holding the kids' trolley. What about my mother? He smiled, gazing at her. She's resting. They were able to drain the poison out of her. You can see her once the doctor is done. She hugged me instantly, crying. Thank you, Xavier. She's alive. I squeezed her and kissed her hair. Yes, she is. Let's find a place to sit while we wait for the doctor. Hold on. She held my hands, gazed at me. I didn't believe you when you said that the attacks were serious until now. Even my mum isn't safe. Please do whatever you can to protect us. We can't let them win. Of course they wouldn't. I didn't say it aloud, though, but returned the conversation to her mother's progress. My mind trailed to the previous attacks, and I started to connecting the timelines. There must be a detail I missed, and I was going to find it out. Xavier's POV. Eva stirred as Aurora covered her with a blanket and kissed her lightly on the cheeks. She smiled at me as we walked out of the room, closing the door with a click. She will be fine. The doctor said if she had all the rest she needed, she would recover quickly. I drew her close, sniffing her hair. She relaxed, smiling. I hope so. Thanks for everything. I nodded. It's my job. Aurora, we need to talk. No, we don't. I held her hands as she turned. Hold on. It's about the children, your mum, and your safety. It's evident that when you are with me, bad things happen. She shook her head vigorously. That's not true. These accidents occurred because we let our guard down. For example, we left Mom with the Beta's family. If she had been with us, nothing would have happened to her. That's not true. You know they attacked her because she's linked to us? No, we trusted your beta and he failed us. She strode to her room and I rushed after her. I already agreed with the guards. What else do you want from me? I sighed, settling on her bed. She paced the floor and continued talking about how she was going to take care of herself and the children. I listened, enjoying how she threw her hands in the air and shot glares at me. You and the children have to leave. I dropped, holding her gaze. That's the only way, Aurora. Please, don't make this decision hard. No, we aren't going anywhere. How are you going to survive alone in this pack without us? I smiled, rising. You mean, how are you going to survive without me being close by? She sighed, closing the distance between us. I don't want to leave you here. They might kill you. I have the men in Collins. We would fight, but if you're here, I won't be able to do so. I would help out. I'm not useless, Xavier. I have some skills. It wouldn't be enough, and if they would keep coming until you're dead. Leaving is the only option we have, and that's final. I'm not going. Neither are the children. I'm going to fight with you, and that's it. I huffed, holding her shoulders. Do you want Jay and Janny to die? Do you want to lose your mom too? No, I don't want to lose them, but I might lose you. What do I do with myself then? What am I going to tell our kids? You aren't going to lose me. I promise you. Just agree to leave with them. Lewis and I have made the necessary arrangements. No one in the pack would know about it. She laughed nervously, shrugging my hands off. Everything has been planned already. So why are you telling me now? Why not whisk me away already? I clenched my fists, annoyed that she thought I was a dictator. After everything, Aurora, don't you see that your opinion matters to me more than anything? I do, but I don't want this. I traced my fingers down her chin and smiled. This is the only way to keep you safe. If there was an alternative, I would jump on it. She took my hands and said reluctantly, All right, we will go, but you have to promise me something? I sighed in relief. Anything, Aurora. Don't get killed, Alpha, or else your children are going to grow up without meeting you. She sniffed as tears rolled down her chin. My thumb cleaned the tears as she sniffed. I promise to return to you and the children. Please be safe. That's all I ask from you. Okay, I'm only agreeing to this because of my mum and the children. I hate leaving you alone. I know. How about we go to the park and spend the day with Jay and Janny? She smiled widely. I would love that. Let me inform the chef to prepare a picnic basket for us. Aurora? I called as she opened the door. Yes, is there something else I need to know? You and the children would leave tomorrow. I can feel the danger. It's far from over. Her lips curved into a frown. All right. The maids and I will pack after the outing. I'm sorry I brought this upon you and the children. She didn't reply but closed the door behind her. I fell on the bed, slid my phone, and texted Luis. We were working on a lead, but I couldn't concentrate because of Aurora. Now that she had agreed to leave, I could join them and figure out the suspect before his next attack. Aurora didn't want to leave, though, and I hated to see her go. But if she stayed here, I would be torn between saving her, the kids, and the pack. The park was filled up with a lot of families taking all the spaces. I scoffed as the nanny, and I carried the items for the picnic while Aurora pushed the twins' trolley. She kept saying no to the places I suggested we stay until she found a spot near a tree. I hated the spot instantly. I don't like this spot. We're secluded from others. She laughed as she and the nanny arranged the items on the blanket. Come on, this spot is perfect for us. It's cool and away from the noise. Besides, you don't even like people. I do, I protested, glancing at a family opposite our spot. That family seems nice. Maybe we could invite them over and I will show you how much I love others? Not happening. This picnic is going to be our last. Her voice dropped, but she continued, But I'm going to make the best out of it. I know we can. She was right. We spent the day playing games, quizzes, and Scrabble. The twins weren't left out. Aurora and I took turns in carrying and reading them stories. Later, the other family joined us and I got bored for a few minutes. Aurora caught me rolling my eyes several times, and she texted me saying, I was right about you not liking people, Xavier. I laughed and tried to connect with the family. It was a pathetic attempt, but I enjoyed their company. It was evening when we wrapped everything up and returned to my car. Aurora's face was drawn, and I knew something was wrong. She shook her head, looking dejected. This is the last time we are going to spend time with you. I'm going to miss you so much." I pulled her in and gave her a squeeze. "We would have other days to be together. Don't feel so bad." Her shoulders sagged as she stepped into the car, not saying a word. I moved towards her, wanting to say more, but I decided to leave her alone, Aurora's POV. I grabbed the last luggage and walked towards the window, feeling nostalgic. I had gotten used to the quarters, staying with Xavier and in the pack. Leaving felt wrong. I didn't want to go, but Xavier's mind was made up. He was right, though. I wouldn't survive with Jay and Janny if I stayed. The attacks, everyone had been targeted at me and not him. If they had tried to get my mom and failed, I knew soon they would attack again and would ensure someone died. I shuddered, taking one final look at the room, and wrapped my hands around myself. It would be fine in the end. I had to just survive everything and not let Xavier down. The driver collected the luggage, and I followed him to the living room. Xavier was carrying Jay while Mom was with Janny. "I think we are ready," I said, walking towards the door. "Hold on, we should have breakfast as a family before you leave," he called, making me stop. "All right, that's fine. Let's eat." Breakfast was fun. Xavier kept us occupied with stories his grandparents told him about wars and their travels. Mom even added to the conversation, and it felt like a normal morning. I didn't get relaxed, though. This was the last time. I reached out to Xavier, and he smiled, squeezing my hand. "Can't we go tomorrow? I'm not ready to leave," he replied. "No." We agreed. I sighed, retrieving my hand. "I just hate that this is the last time. You and I, the kids, this house." "It's for the best. If there was another way." "It's all right, I understand. Let's enjoy breakfast. It's the last one with me." He chuckled. "You know, we barely eat together except during the weekends. That's because you are always working and leaving the house before the chef is done with the meals." "That's not true." He dragged, gazing at me. "Sometimes you might have gone to the cafe, and I don't like eating alone." "But you love your loner's space, Alpha." I giggled, stabbing a piece of meat. "I used to, but someone changed me." He peered at me, and I felt hot instantly. "Stop it. You're going to make me cry." He mumbled, "I wish you didn't have to go, Aurora, but these attacks, like you said, it's for the best." After the meal, Mom and I took the last bags to the car while Xavier followed behind, carrying the babies in their crib. "Okay, I think they are ready to go too." He smiled as he buckled them into the car seat. "Aurora, are you okay?" I nodded slowly. "Yes, I am. You're going to call us, right?" "Yes, but not frequently. I don't want them tracking you, so don't call me if I don't." "Okay, what about visiting? Would you come and check up on us?" "Once in 6 months, Aurora." His brows creased, and he seemed unsure of what he wanted to say. "It will be dangerous to visit every time." I protested, hating the limitations. "That's not fair. Do you want the kids to grow up not knowing you?" He shook his head, gritting his teeth. "Of course not. I'm not leaving you forever. I will be back as soon as we find whoever started the attacks." "It is going to take you months, Xavier. How am I going to survive with them without you?" "We've talked about this already. I'm going to call and visit you. Hold on to my promise and don't worry about us not seeing. Everything will be all right, okay?" But we barely started living. I choked on my words as tears dripped, wetting my shirt. "I am going to miss you so much." "Aurora, please." "This is hurtful. It burns, Xavier. Leaving you hurts so much." I sniffed, drawing him near. He kissed me lightly on my forehead and replied, "Once you get to the new location, one of my men would pick you up and hand over new ID cards, ATM cards, and documents." "We will be changing identities too?" I sniffed, not believing him. "I can't do that. It will be like living a fake life." "You have to do it, Aurora. Don't make this difficult," he grunted harshly. "Okay, whatever you say, I will do it. I don't want us to fight." "Thank you. So, like I mentioned earlier, you don't call me unless I call you. Don't text me unless I do. Use your new identity carefully, and be careful of the friends you make." "I just want this to be over. This is too much," I cried. How did he expect me to pull everything off in a strange land I knew nothing about? "I will be living like a fugitive, Xavier. I don't want that type of life for our kids." He ran his palm across his face, frustrated. "Aurora, don't forget why we are doing this. No one must be able to trace you, your mum, and the children." She sniffed, her eyes flooded with tears. "Okay, goodbye, Xavier. I will miss you." He gave me one last hug and ushered me into the car. The driver switched on the engine, and in a few minutes we were on the road. "Aurora, you know this is for the best?" Mum said, interrupting the silence. I shrugged, unable to stop myself from crying. "I just wish he wouldn't let us go alone. What if he dies? What would I tell the kids?" She smiled affectionately. "He's not going to die. He's the best alpha in this part of the world and the fiercest. Don't you worry about a thing, okay?" "Okay, Mum. I guess I have just believed his words. Yes, and stop crying or else the kids will sense your sadness and start crying too," she said, drawing laughter from me. "I hope they don't. I can't handle them at the moment." Mum laughed, glancing at them. They were asleep, their lips curved in a peaceful smile. "Xavier is going to be the best dad to them. Just watch and see." I smiled, my cheeks hurting. "He already is, Mom. Let's just hope he survives this. I need him to return to us alive." "He will, I assure you." "How can you be so sure?" She relaxed on the chair and smiled. "Because of the way he looks at you, Aurora. He would do anything and everything for you." I blushed, glancing outside as the car drove past houses and trees. Xavier might not be the easiest man to be around with, but the way he paid attention to me most times made it easy to be comfortable with and not frightened. I wouldn't see him for the next 6 months. However, the memories we had made so far would carry me on. Aurora's POV. I sighed as I picked the clothes scattered on the floor. Jay had dragged them from the chair. The twins had started crawling, and it was fun to watch, but these days I had to always be on my toes to ensure they didn't crawl to the kitchen. "Jay, be careful." "That's not for playing, but for eating," I said, collecting the apple from him. My eyes strayed to the tray on the floor, apples all around the place. I groaned and placed him in his crib. Janny was at the other side of the room, destroying her baby doll's hair. At least she wasn't throwing and dragging items off the table. After throwing the apples away, I settled on the couch and closed my eyes. It had been a difficult start since moving into this pack. It was lonely, especially during the cold nights, and when the kids cried, I almost cried with them. My mom had been helpful with the kids and the chores. She also tried to keep me company and not worry about Xavier every time. I couldn't stop. He was everywhere. When I cooked, he was there, joking about how I wouldn't allow the chef to do his duty. When I scolded Janny about her toys, he reminded me about being patient with her. She was still a baby. As I laid in bed, I could always feel his warmth around me. How he touched, caressed, and made me feel safe. His voice, the way he gazed at me and made me feel mattered. I shuddered as I opened my eyes slowly. Janny was crying and throwing her toys all over the place. I slowly rose, tired. This was what I went through with them since we moved here. It was like they were angry at me for not staying with Xavier. If I had a choice, I would have. I carried her and sang a lullaby while I returned to the couch. Xavier would have known what to do. He was good with them. He always knew the right lullaby to sing, the way to carry them, and what to say to make them giggle. I couldn't raise them alone. I was bad at parenting. I couldn't even get their room arrangement right. Their clothes were sprawled on the bed and the couch. I must have slept because when I woke up, Mom was putting Janny in her crib, and the room was well arranged. "Mom, you shouldn't have. I was going to arrange the clothes," I said in a rushed tone as I stood up. She smiled and walked to my bed. "They are my grandchildren, and I have to help too." I sighed, removing the pillows. "I'm not doing it right, am I?" "Doing what? I don't understand you." "Mom, you know what I am talking about. It's everything with Janny and Jay. I can't take care of them alone. I need Xavier." She moved closer to me and smiled. "You're doing fine, Aurora. You just have to learn not to be hard on yourself. You're a young mother, and so far, you've done your best for them, and I'm proud of you." I shook my head, not pleased with her words. She was just trying to make me feel better. But what I needed was Xavier. He was alone in the pack without me and the children. He would be lonely as well, and I couldn't shake off the feeling that he was going through worse things than I. I wanted to be there for him, and not in this pack, trying to start afresh. "I want to return to the pack. I miss him," I replied, glaring boldly at her. "You can't. Xavier made it clear that he would call us once everything is settled in the pack. You will be endangering the children if you don't listen to us." I wouldn't. It's the right thing to do. Can't you see how useless I am without him? I can't even make Janny sleep some nights. We have been doing well with the kids. You have to get yourself together, Aurora. Xavier is a good husband, and he did everything to protect you and your kids. You don't want to do anything that will make him regret his actions. But I am. I stuttered, falling into her arms. I see him everywhere. I miss him so much that thoughts of him are so hurtful. What if he doesn't come back for us? She released me and cleaned my tears with her handkerchief. My dear little child, he will come back for you. He cares for Jay and Janny. You have seen him prove that so many times. I know. I just wish he were here with us. I know. How about we arrange the house today to take your mind off things? It's been a rough week since we moved in, and some items are still in their boxes. I smiled a little. I wanted to reject her offer and just lie on my bed and immerse myself in memories of Xavier. She wouldn't let me, though, because she believed worrying wouldn't solve anything, but I still fear in me. Okay, Mom, let's do it. I would also bake some cookies. It's been a while since I did that. She laughed as she led me out of the room and filled my ears with a list of items we needed to purchase from the hardware store. I nodded, but my mind was elsewhere, searching for him and hoping he was thinking about me too. I think we should start gardening, Aurora. It will make you occupied, Mom said, arranging the dishes in its rack. We were done with dinner, the kids were in their cribs, asleep, and every room in the house had been arranged and tidied. The chores did help distract me for a while, but right now, my body aches for him. Mum, let's talk about it tomorrow. We had a long day and I need to rest. Aurora, is it about Xavier? I flashed a knowing look and mumbled, I can't get him off my mind. I'm sorry, Mom. It's all right. Go to bed. I would take care of the kitchen. But Mom, I protested, hating that she had to do most of the work because I couldn't keep myself in control. Yes, Aurora. You have been absent-minded today, thinking about him. I seemed it. My gaze fell. I can't stop myself. He risked everything for us. Yes, and I also know he will be back for you and the twins. Give him the time he requested and stop worrying. She took my hand and squeezed it. When all this is over, he will come for you. I don't know how to believe those words. It's so difficult, Mom. I broke down, crying. She hugged me, rubbing my back. I'm here for you and he is too. Focus on your memories and let them guide you. I can't. You can. Just focus and know that he will be back before you know it. I took in a long breath and allowed her words to sink in. He had promised, and all I had to do was believe and try to survive with the children. Alpha Lucas's POV. I glanced at my wristwatch and nodded. Darren was late. He was supposed to be here an hour ago, but here's still waiting for him. I returned to my desk and peered at some of the papers scattered on the table. None held what I needed to know. There were figures, names, and places that didn't ring a bell and were filled with useless information. I turned as the air changed. Darren was here. The door pushed open as he strode in, a blank look on his face. Pathetic. You're late, Darren. We agreed on noon, and you promised to be on time. Something came up and I had to fix it before coming here. Does it have to do with the car I told you to keep track of? He grunted. No, I couldn't keep track with the car. They knew we were behind them and watching. Excuses, Darren. Do you realize that was the only clue to know where it was going? We could ask people in the pack. They hear things, Lucas. I banged my fists, glaring at him. Don't be a clown. That's not what you were supposed to do. I was on their trail, but they were smarter than me. Of course they were. Xavier outsmarted us, and currently we have nothing against him. We will figure out a way, we just need to think, he said in a low tone. I scoffed, shaking my head. That's what you think, but we have lost everything that we could use to get him. We don't know if Aurora has gone. She's not in the pack, Darren. My men searched, but got nothing. That car could have helped us know the location. What about her mother? Do you have any idea where she could be? No, she left with them. Xavier was smart. He knew we would come for her if we couldn't get Aurora. This is fruitless. I don't know how we are going to get back in this game. We don't have anything we can use against that bastard. His people? We could spread rumors that could shake the peace and unity of the pack. I laughed, not believing him. Have you lost your sense of reasoning, or are you just wanting to be dumb this morning? His expression turned hard. I made a suggestion that could work, Lucas. I still have some connections that can help us. I thought for a second and spat. It wouldn't work. They are loyal to Xavier. Look at the chaos we caused during the twins' ceremony. I expected them to riot, but the fools welcomed him back. He's their alpha, and we were disgraced. They had no choice but to right now. The pack has received a lot of attacks lately. If we can use that to our advantage, maybe, we might hit Xavier when he least expects it. It wouldn't work. We need to think outside his pack and look for ways that we can penetrate his walls. Spreading rumors is what cowards do, and I wouldn't be seen as one. He raised his hands in defeat. All right, what do you intend to do? Aurora and the children are out of the pack. We have no idea where they are or if they will ever return. They were his weak point, the only target that held him in check. I nodded slowly and picked up a paper. I am aware of how slim our chances are, Darren. That's enough. Right, I was just trying to make you... Yeah, that's enough. I need to think. I checked the paper and quickly tapped on my phone. Xavier's stocks are falling drastically. Did you know about that? Yeah, but stocks rise and fall. Besides, he has other investments. I scoffed. Think, Darren. These falling stocks are the moment, are ones that bring him a lot of money. He's currently working with an alpha on a business deal. How does this help us? I groaned, handing him my phone. Read and listen. We just discovered he has stocks that are bleeding him money. If we can hijack this alpha to our side, Xavier would be vulnerable. No businessman hates losing their potential partner in good money. Oh, this makes sense. We need to convince the alpha to be on our side. That's the only way this plan would work. Let's call him. Hold on. Let me check for his number. His name is Alpha Matthias. He sounds like an easy man to please. I dialed his number while Darren talked about the different ways we could get Alpha Matthias to join forces with us. Yes, who's this? Alpha Matthias's voice was tough, but I wasn't bothered. Tough men always were the easiest to lure, especially when they had a lot to benefit from a plan. This is Alpha Lucas. Yes, that's me. I saw your contract with Xavier, and I feel it wouldn't work. Why? What seems to be the problem? You're working with the wrong person. If you would drop out of it and collaborate with me, we can achieve greater things. Xavier lacks the mindset, but I own it. He laughed. Why would I want to work with you? I know you don't like Xavier that much. He was once a pest to you. Still is. If you work with me, we can take care of him, and I will divide the shares of the pack equally. I will take 50, you take 50. What do you think? It's a no. I'm not interested in joining your shady deals, Lucas. Come on, don't you want to own the biggest pack in this city? Also, see Xavier gone for good? You would even take charge of his companies and stocks. It is still a no. I don't do evil deals, all right? I would advise you to walk away from that path, Lucas, or you're going to get yourself killed. The only one who is going to end up dead is Xavier. He cut the line before I could complete my threat. Darren glanced at me, confused. What happened? That fool hung up on me, I yelled, throwing my phone and watching it break into pieces. Darren flinched. What did he say? Is he in? No, he isn't, I sneered, clenching my fists. I'm going to make Xavier pay for everything he did to me. His days just became short. Darren, he's going to regret the day he and I met when I'm done with him. How are we doing to do that? Leave that to me. I know exactly what I am supposed to do. Darren nodded, glancing strangely at me. Just don't do anything stupid. I smiled mischievously. Trust me, I won't, partner. Aurora's POV. They are beautiful. What are their names? An elderly woman stopped me as I pushed the twins' trolley towards a shopping mall. I smiled. This was the 5th time I had been stopped since I got out of the house a few minutes ago. I had barely even gone a mile before receiving compliments from people. Jay and Janice, thank you so much, I replied, watching her make cute faces at them. Those are lovely names, and you're a beautiful mother. Take care, all right? I hope to see your babies' faces soon. Same too, Ma. I continued pushing as I gazed at the windows of shops. It's been almost a year now, and I haven't heard anything from Xavier, not a phone call nor a message. His men, who were stationed to watch over us, had all returned to the pack on his order. I felt devastated, and several times I wanted to call him, but Mom wouldn't let me. She believes he was immersed in the pack activities and keeping our whereabouts a secret. How a call would ruin everything, Aurora. I'm sure he has a good reason for not keeping his distance. She had said as I refused to release my phone. It had been a raining Saturday. I could still remember because the kids were sick and the doctor was stuck in the house, trying to do everything to appease them. It's been 6 months, Mom. How could he abandon us? She had shrugged it off. I don't think he did. He still sends money to the account. One of his men dropped a car for our use. Does that sound like abandonment? What about my feelings? He abandoned them. I protested. He will call you soon, but don't call him. Let's obey his order for now. I had obeyed as usual, and 2 months passed, and we heard nothing from him. I would have believed he was dead, but the news channels always carried new stories about him, attending events and making giant moves. He wasn't dead. He was just radio silent. I cried myself to bed so much that these days, my eyes were dry and my voice cracked when I whispered his name at night. Hi, do you want something? You have been staring at the window for a while. A blonde teen sales attendant interrupted my reverie, making me blink. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, I was about to come in. I need some dresses for my baby girl and shorts for my boy. Do you have outfits I would like? She flashed a wide smile as she ushered me into the mall. I hadn't even realized when I stopped, but I was glad. They had everything I wanted: shoes, bags, outfits for the twins, dresses for Mom and myself. We didn't pack enough when relocating because I thought we would return after 6 months. If I had known, I would have cleared the closet. I felt sad as I browsed through the dresses and remembered how Xavier had bought some similar ones for me after I delivered the twins. I bit my lower lip to stop myself from crying. It would be quite embarrassing to break down in public, and attention was what I didn't want at the moment. Shopping was slow, but I got everything I wanted and ordered a ride home. I played with the babies as the driver engaged me in a conversation. He was a nice guy, stayed in the city for years. I tried to be polite, but he stopped talking when he noticed I kept giving him short replies. Xavier was on my mind. I couldn't concentrate, and the kids kept reminding me of him. Why didn't he just send a text? If he was so busy for a phone call, then a quick text wouldn't hurt, but at least I was left with a deafening silence. The driver announced our arrival at the house, and I quickly paid, and he helped with my bags. I saw Mum at a neighbor's house, and she waved as I pushed the trolley into the house. She was making friends easily, but I couldn't because I was so lonely, and my wolf felt the same way too. Some evenings, I jogged to stop thinking about him, but not my wolf. It reminded me of Xavier and how he left us alone. Maybe he's swamped with work activities. You have seen the news. There's a project, my wolf said. I laughed. Project? I can feel your longing for him, so don't pretend or give excuses on his behalf. I am not doing that, Aurora. If he abandoned you, you would feel it. I feel it. He abandoned the kids and me because we brought trouble to his pack. That's not true. You're saying this from a place of hurt. I glanced at the twins as they giggled in their crib. If he wanted to be in their lives, he would prove it. I'm lonely. So lonely that I can't even think about him without breaking down. He's going to call you. Just hold on in there. 1 more month passed, and we celebrated the new year. Xavier had remained silent, and no one seemed to have heard anything from him. His men had stopped coming, and the news showed little about him. I cried more often and tried to be a mum for the kids. They were growing fast and had started learning how to walk. Mom was a great emotional support, and I did my best to be happy. But it was hard. Some days, I locked myself in the bathroom and cried. How could he abandon for almost a year and not a word from him till now? Aurora, where are you? Mom called from the living room. I yelled as I rubbed butter on the slices of bread I wanted to eat. The kids were safely tucked in bed, and Mom and I were watching a late-night show. We had started a few months ago, and so far it has been a great bonding experience for us. I'm coming, Mom. It remains a few slices left. Oh, Xavier is on the news. They're talking about a new project he just started with a company. The knife dropped from my hand, and I rushed to the living room, but I didn't see what she saw, but him and a young lady captured romantically. It was a popular alpha's daughter. Alpha Matthew. I had seen him once on the news. I fell on my knees and started crying. This was why he had abandoned us. He had gotten someone else to replace me and the kids. Aurora, stop crying. Everything would be fine. Mom lifted me and led me to the chair. I sniffed, staring at the screen as the reporter called them the powerful couple ruling the business world. I felt a twinge of pain as I noticed how he gazed at her, the same way he did at me. He had moved on. It's no use, Mom. This is why he didn't call. He got someone else and took me out of the plan. Aurora, no. I broke down again and cried until Mom led me to my room, tucked me into bed, and stayed by my side until I fell asleep.